And we are live, live, live. It's showtime. We're going to look at something that I was watching from a channel. I'll give you a little share screen so you could see, discussing all these portals, basically, that people are capturing up in the sky. So we're going to check out some of that footage. The guy did a very good compilation, and I think we got maybe 45 minutes that I can have some fun here. So let's not waste any further time. I'm going to show you where I'm getting this one over here. So go to this guy's channel at the Ghetto Gospel Team, Revelations of Jesus Christ. This guy makes really good documentaries and pastes together some really good footage and stuff like that I have zero time to go search for. So giving a shout out to his channel, and we're gonna check it out right now, guys. So
without
let's do it. Check out his channel, guys.
Then said he unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines and pestilences, and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. And fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven.
And fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven.
Good plan.
Hurry up.
What is that, bro?
It made like some thing.
And fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven.
That is not a plane.
Nah, because you saw it made like the little post thing, right? Didn't you see how it made the post thing, Chris?
Yeah.
It made like a post.
And fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven.
Bro, I never interrupt for stuff like that.
Bro, I saw it immediately.
What is that?
I still see it. Bro, that's like clouds now.
Jesus is Lord.
That's right.
Jesus is Lord.
That's right.
It's good that they're saying Jesus is Lord, but we have no idea what we're seeing up there. As far as angelic activity goes, humans will not really know the difference between the fallen angels that have rebelled and the angels. The veil, in my opinion, is thinning, and we're going to see a lot of activity in the sky. But I do believe that we are creating portals, things like the Hadron Collider and the weird clouds that appeared while it was functional with this thunder and stuff like that. Makes it really difficult as well, because then when you're trying to go fact check, the actual fact checkers will just deny those things, and I just don't trust the fact checkers. So an eye of discernment obviously is required, but a lot of the footage here that we're going to see in this documentary looks like good quality. It's makes you scratch your head whether this is true or not. I'm trying to tie these things that we're seeing in the sky, especially in this video, the portals that you're going to see. I like about the first half of this documentary. It also goes into pretty much another topic, the second half of it, but the first half has some amazing footage.
Hey,
Jesus is Lord.
that's right.
Amen.
I'm still seeing it clearer on my phone than in real life.
I'm going to make it go a little faster.
You can see it clearer on my phone than when you look at it in the sky. It's right there. You see?
You've stated that the government is in possession of potentially non-human spacecraft. Based on your experience and extensive conversations with experts, do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials?
Something I can't discuss in a public setting.
something I can't discuss in public setting.
Okay, I can't ask when you think this occurred. If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with
Okay, so they pretty much said it right there, right? They're in possession of the bodies. The bodies are non-human. They are claiming that these bodies are flying these UAPs. That's the new name instead of UFOs. I think that this is completely a psychological operation. I think that this is pretty much controlled opposition. They make it look like they've been hiding this for, decades, while Hollywood puts out one alien movie after another, one Marvel action movie after another. And if you look at, the majority of the superhero movies, it all has to do with genetic manipulation, or being bitten by a mutant spider, something like Spider-Man, stuff like that. So again, it's superhero powers or godlike powers, that children just grow up watching, and it's like they're the good guys, right? So if they're open and they're willing to disclose that, we found bodies, they're not human, so what's the problem with showing it? I think that they actually don't have any bodies. I don't think that these crafts are even possibly manned. I think that they might be self-run as well. So I just have a gut feeling that this is being this is just another deception. It's controlled opposition. It's giving people what they want. It's like, no, aliens don't exist. Oh, the government doesn't talk about it. Then you have all these whistleblowers, all the while that people are watching alien movies, to the point where you have people that are not even shy, like Dawkins, that'll be like, God doesn't exist, but maybe aliens created us. So, you can just tell that, that makes complete sense. Who created them?
knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still in the program.
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with written knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still in the program.
Now, I don't know about you, but it seems that as soon as the pagan ritual of the New Year's demonic door of Janus was finished, and the new year of 2024 was upon us, many strange things started happening almost immediately. You had breaking news stories of giant shadow beings walking in Miami. Then you had hundreds of earthquakes happening on one day in Japan, and then an earthquake in New York, and then in California. And as the news reporting on the war started using very strange wording, talking about opening up the gates of hell. But before we talk about aliens, or what you should know as the fallen angels, I want us to first take a minute, take a moment, and examine demonic doorways and portals. Because I truly believe this is a missing puzzle when it comes to the fallen angels, or what people know as aliens. And we're going to go a completely different route in part 2 of this series, The Gospel of the Aliens. Now, if you haven't seen part 1, I would recommend that you go in the description box and the comment section and click the link and watch that before you continue in part 2.
So what we were trying to do, what the United States government was trying to do, is open a portal or a tunnel in the fabric of space in order to travel.
What the United States government was trying to do is open a portal or a tunnel in the fabric of space in order to travel.
So it is very clear that the level of witchcraft being used in Hollywood with lesser magic, revealing their agenda in plain sight under the guise of entertainment. The goal of the dragon from the very beginning was to be like the Most High. And before we get into what the Word of God says about portals and doorways, let us first examine what exactly is the agenda in this last hour. As the great prophecy of the book of Daniel began to unravel at the birthing of the 20th century, that knowledge would increase in lightning speed. Lucifer waited for this moment, that when knowledge would increase and he could introduce fallen angel technology to the Luciferians in high places, that they would be able.
Yeah, so it's an easy prediction to know that in the end times, knowledge would increase because, as we know, as in the days of Noah, knowledge had increased as well, leading to the actual reason for the flood. That's how things had become so corrupted to the point that man himself was in danger of being corrupted. It says that Noah was perfect in his generations, in his genealogy. If you look at the Greek word using Blue Letter Bible, you'll see that it was, though he was a righteous man and obviously favored by God, it was not that he was perfect in his character. Nobody is. We all fall short of the glory of God. He was perfect in his genealogy. At the same time, people want to say that the Bible was written by a bunch of shepherds, a bunch of uneducated, stupid idiots. And this is why they created all of this, spaghetti monster and fantasy. Yet, we have people saying that. Yet we'll have the same people that criticize the stupid writers of the Bible and say that they were very, very high in technology. In the pre-Diluvian world or in the ancient world. Things like Atlantis, all of these things were high-tech civilizations, and the high-tech was given by the fallen angels. We also had at that time, before the flood as well as after, the Nephilim, more known as the Raphaim, after the flood. So we see that there's fallen angel technology, that knowledge had increased, and to the point, the Tower of Babel, this is literally a stargate. This is a portal that was trying to be open, and the same thing is happening in CERN. There's also many hadron colliders. We know about CERN. China is trying to develop one that is, I don't know, tenfold larger. If we look over here, CERN's opening ceremony, just here, okay, we have the opening ceremony. There's literally, the opening ceremony, we're going to have to look into that. But again, we have this portal, we have Baphomet coming out. We have the trumpets, which could be in a way them winking at us, saying, the trumpets that are sounded at the end of time during Revelation. This could also be an aspect. What's very strange is CERN and them putting this Shiva statue. So what are a bunch of scientists doing? Making satanic opening ceremonies. The opening ceremony, another ceremony that was done in a way off camera, was very similar to what you'll see in the Skull and Bones initiations, a mock sacrifice of a woman. This here is a portal, okay, with Shiva the Destroyer coming out of it. Shiva, known as the Destroyer of Worlds, and we have in Revelation Abaddon in Hebrew, meaning the Destroyer, coming out of the pit of hell, a furnace looking thing, which again is the opening of portals. So keep in mind that the theme here that we're looking at is portals being opened by the government or the deep state, whatever you want to call it. The science community are playing with this. And when they discuss this, when you look at Stephen Hawkins talking about his concern about the Hadron Collider, that interdimensional, it could rip a fabric in space-time. They are not denying that they are speaking or interacting with other dimension. And we couple the Hadron Collider with quantum computing, and things like that. Again, quantum computers, the D wave that looks like an obelisk, another technology that helps tap into other dimensions. On this channel, we are pushing that this alien, there are no extra terrestrials or intergalactic brothers. There are fallen angels, and I'll often use the word interdimensional beings. This is the manifestations that we're saying. The star symbolism of angels as stars. We see the majority of these UAPs or this UFO activity is light orb looking phenomenon.
To open up demonic doorways for his kingdom
Predictive
to enter in from the other side. And you clearly can see the hands of Freemasonry all throughout Hollywood. As you can clearly see when he takes his shoe off, this is actually a Freemasonic ritual.
Very interesting. I didn't know that.
And now you're starting to find out why they call themselves the Travelers. Because this is the goal of the Luciferians, to be able to open up these gateways, defying the laws and commands of the Most High God, just like Nimrod with the tower.
You look at Jack Parsons, who was, well, if you can call him that, a disciple or a follower of Aleister Crowley. You look at Aleister Crowley, a self-proclaimed occultist, Satanist, self-named himself the Beast. And he goes, we call them angels and demons now. Later on, they'll call them by something else. He acknowledges as well himself that, no, we're talking about interdimensional beings. He has his encounter through sex magic, I guess, the lamb, which has that big head. The eyes look pretty small, don't completely look like a Gray's. But Jack Parsons was not trained in university in physics or anything like that. Yet all of a sudden, this guy comes up with knowledge on how to make, jet propulsions. And he self as well admitted that he acquired this knowledge again through the occult and receiving knowledge. So a lot of the knowledge that is increasing will be in the form of AI. I mean, everybody right now has, almost, well, besides, what's being censored and stuff like that. But look at the amount of information and knowledge we have at our fingertips. Okay. Also, don't forget that there'll also be knowledge that God will reveal to those in the end of days as well. The book of Enoch was written, the first book of Enoch, for the last generation. For a generation, it would make sense to us. It would be useful at the end the age. Let's continue. Sorry. Share. So I'm just doing this until the fam gets home, and we'll cut it off whenever that happens. And we can continue this, do more than one part.
2, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. And lay down in that place to sleep. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham thy father, and the God of Isaac.
Like I've said in previous videos, and this is just my thought, that God has laid out his plan, from Genesis to Revelation in the Bible. Even to this day, people, very smart people, can read the Bible and there is a veil before them. They just cannot grasp it. They don't believe it. There's a shield, there's a veil. And I think that the fallen, Satan, Lucifer, they're able also to flip through the pages of the Bible. I think that there is as well somewhat of a veil, even though they're intelligent beings, that part is veiled. I think that that's clear, or else, they wouldn't have crucified Jesus. They knew the Psalms 53 kind of thing. They knew about the suffering servant, but they were veiled to a certain extent. And I think that Satan as well needs to pretty much tell everybody his plan, but he's a loophole finder. He doesn't have to have a sacred book that is the book of Satan, even though there's a satanic Bible as well. All he has to do is to show his plans. And I think that Hollywood is the perfect means for doing that. That is why we're like, man, like, there's a movie about this 50 years ago. This is exactly like the movies. Oh, it reminds me of this movie. Yeah, exactly. This is predictive programming, because this is how Satan is able to say, hey, I let them know what I'm going to do. Yeah, I know, but they just think it's a movie and it's Hollywood and it's a make-believe. Wow, well, they think the Bible's make-believe too. Man, good point. Off they go. So Hollywood, even the amount of look at celebrities, how they're idolized, how they're worshipped. Look at, and I say this to my boys very often, it's like, hey, like, why don't you just read one chapter a day out of the Bible? Like, I'm not going to force the Bible on them. I'm just kind of trying to remind them and encourage. It has to be of your own volition. How long have you been in front of, YouTube, just scrolling through these stupid things on it? It's like, look at how much effort you're putting your thought into it. People idolize celebrities, and this is it's potentially worship. This is seen in the music industry. It was a lot more hidden. I mean, at one point, Elvis just would shake his hips a little too much, and they'd be like, "That's Satan." But we're at the point now where Hollywood, music, the television, there's no shame. It's all being revealed. It's being openly celebrated. What is good is now bad, and what was bad is now good. What's bitter is sweet, and what is sweet is bitter, just like the Bible says would happen at during the end times, when the restrainer starts lifting his hand up, when we start seeing clearly and clearly a divide between the sheep and the goats.
And Jacob awaked out of his sleep, and he said, Surely the Lord is in this place. And I knew it not. And he was afraid, and said, How dreadful is this place! How dreadful is this place! This is none other but the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven, and this is the gate of heaven. After this, I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven. And behold, a door was opened in heaven. And the first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet talking with me, which said, Come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter. And immediately I was in the Spirit.
I want you to take a walk with me as we microscopically examine the book of Revelation, chapter 4, verse 1. The word for a door is thurah. This word literally means a door, used of any opening like a door, an entrance, a way, or a passage into something. But when you start to look a little deeper, the Strong's definition literally uses the word portal, a door, and a gateway. So, brother,
I'm always talking about Blue Letter Bible, guys. Please just go. It's free. You don't even have to log in or anything like that. This gives us laymen the ability to go to the Masoretic text, whichever text you want, actually, and you can look at, let's say, because the New Testament was written in Greek, the original Greek word, and you can go to the Old Testament, you can look at the original Hebrew word and all of the meanings. It's extremely useful. That's where I saw at one point where it says nation will rise against nation. I keep on saying ethos, it's ethnos. And when you look at ethnos, it rings like ethnicity, right? And we see, and it will happen more and more. There will be more and more conflict between ethnicities. We see all of a sudden now in the Middle East, Ishmael and Isaac, the Muslims and the Jews, this hatred that is ancient, manifesting now in the end times. You're going to see increases in racism between whites and blacks. You're going to see likely the ethnical conflict or issues between the Taiwanese and the Chinese. We can see, in the heart of Putin, we have the Ukrainian history with the Russians, everything like this, and ethos or not ethos. I keep on saying. Anyways, nation, the Greek word that sounds like ethnic. It also has to do with ideologies, and you're going to see that now that we have turned our way from the worldview of the Bible, you're going to naturally have all sorts of worldviews taking its place. And these worldviews, we can see, I would have never thought in the West, Marxism being pushed, communism being pushed. We see ideologies that are requiring to be affirmed, that are being that make absolutely no sense, to be honest, being pushed. That has to do with that passage. It's not just about nations.
brothers and sisters, whether you call them windows, doors, gateways, or portals, the reality is these truly exist. How do you think our beloved brother Stephen was able to look in to the heavens, into another dimension to see the Son of God standing at the right hand of God the Father, just as he was being stoned and murdered for telling the truth to the Pharisees. At that moment, the Lord Jesus Christ opened up a window or a portal for Stephen to be able to look through another dimension, because on a regular day, all he would have seen in the sky was clouds, maybe the sun shining and birds flying around. But once the Son of God opened up that doorway, he was able to see through to another dimension in heaven. And of course, there are many other examples within the Word of God. We could have went to the story of Jonah and so on and so forth, but to save time, I just wanted you to see the reality of these interdimensional portals and why Hollywood is fascinated with portals, because the dragon operating behind the green screen curtain on the world stage understands that these gateways actually exist. And one thing that you have to realize is, if there are gateways to the heavenly realm, to the Most High God, then there must also be demonic gateways. You see, these are illegal entry points. This is exactly what the Lord God and Savior, Yeshua the Messiah, was saying when he declared, "I am the way." You see, he is the eternal gateway. But the beautiful thing, brothers and sisters, is he has the keys of David. He has the keys to shut any door that no one can open, and he can open any door that none can shut. You have to ask yourself the question, what exactly are these doors that he can shut and open? Do you think it is the entryway to your home? Or is it something far deeper that has a spiritual meaning? Because you see, in John chapter 10, verse 1, he makes it very clear. Truly, truly, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climb up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. But he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter open. You hear that? Did you hear that? And the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name and leadeth them out. So it is very clear that the Most High God became flesh and dwelt among us, and Jesus Christ had.
Right, guys. So the only portal that we should put all our focus on is Jesus Christ is the door, right? No one gets to the Father but through him. He's the way, the truth, and the life. Of course, Satan has his own door, his own portal, his own way. You know, he's a liar, and he has no creative force. Satan, he can just mimic, and therefore, what he's going to try and do is Jesus Christ, promises immortality. He's going to go the other way. He's going to try and convince us that transhumanism is going to convince us that we can download our consciousness, into the digital realm. He's going to try and put his digital realm inside of us, which is pretty much what you hear the WEF and Noah Yuval Harari talking about man and machine merging, transhumanism.
Had to fulfill everything that needed.
Also, way, truth, and life is correct. There was something I wanted to acknowledge. The mark of the beast, okay, will not be something that they will sneak into you. Okay, it is a mark of allegiance. Now, does that mean that the mark of the beast will as well have perks and benefits and stuff like that they're going to try and sell you on? Can it be transhumanism? Can there be technology, nanotechnology? I think that we should be extremely open about that, but it's not a bunch of older people being lied to and just taking a medical intervention without ever realizing it. And oh, now you know you're the mark. You're the mark. Could it have DNA altering effects? I don't think anyone should be saying no to that, but it's also a choice. It will be a mark of allegiance, a mark really of worship. I think that's pretty clear in the Bible.
To be accomplished, so he could open up the gateway for us to enter in through him. So when you see these Luciferians operating in high-ranking occult rituals to open up demonic portals, these are the very people our Lord God and King was warning us about, that they would try to enter in illegally in other ways.
All right. So this is supposedly when the Hadron Collider had run previously. This appeared over CERN. I can't wait to get a little bit further in the documentary, because there are some really cool looking videos that look pretty valid, and they're undeniably being captured by people that are putting it on the net, but they're portals.
Through other means, by the knowledge of the fallen angels in the last hour. I want you to watch this video clip, and we'll be right back.
300 this morning, TDRS picked up an automated navigation beacon broadcasting at 2-minute intervals in Neptune orbit.
This is incredible. It's the Event Horizon. She's come back.
The Event Horizon is the culmination of a secret government project to create a spacecraft capable of faster-than-light flight. The ship doesn't really go faster than light. What it does is it creates a dimensional gateway that allows it to jump instantaneously from one point of the universe to another light years away.
Where's she been for the last 7 years?
That's what we're here to find out.
After 7 years in deep space,
18 people on board the ship when it disappeared. I want them all accounted for.
opening outer door, it came back abandoned.
Any crew? Negative. This place is a tomb.
But it didn't come back alone.
Has been beyond the boundaries of our universe. Who knows where it's been? Or what it's brought back.
As you were. Let the man speak.
What was made public about the...
Yeah, and what my French-speaking friend here is talking about a man who worked on CERN and ended up committing suicide. Also, I think there was 9 workers during the building of that that died. Again, like any occult ceremony, you know, the blood of those workers was that an accident? You never know, right? Willing sacrifices for the opening of the portal.
The Event Horizon, that she was a deep space research vessel, that her reactor went critical, and that the ship blew up. None of that is true. The Event Horizon is the culmination of a secret government project to create a spacecraft capable of faster-than-light flight.
Excuse me. See, you can't actually do that.
The law of relativity prohibits faster than light travel.
Relativity, yes, we can't break the law of relativity. We can go around it. The ship doesn't really go fast.
What I would say is the JAB was a study of how the public would react. So they're doing their typical, you know, propaganda using media and seeing how the population would react with what we're not used to, authoritarian actions by the government. And they'll always do that. They'll create a crisis. They'll use the propaganda with social media that has never been this potent. especially with things like TikTok and stuff like that. They use that to further propagandize and divide the public. They create factions so that we fight amongst each other, and create enough fear so that the planned changes that they wanted to institute anyways, that we would have never accepted, the majority out of fear will accept it. So they'll be completely fine with it. They'll ask for it even. And so no, obviously the JAB was not the mark, but they were looking, and it was a social experiment, and it's looking how we would react. They've learned from it. They can see how it acts, and so I definitely think that it was dress rehearsal and stuff like that. That's just my opinion on it. And there's more dress rehearsals to come, and maybe not the dress rehearsal, maybe the real thing. So over here, you have the fallen angel here. By the way, angels, the majority of the angels that we see appearing in the Bible don't have wings. The cherub, the Sephirim, strong spirit beings that are often associated with being close to the throne, they have wings. But I like how, this is obviously the symbol of an angel. I like that there's a mask, meaning that these angels are being deceptive. They are not showing who they are. I am 100% doing a full rundown of CERN and all the symbolism, but the symbolism is obvious almost to everybody. Let's look at more of this. Baphomet. You've seen that symbolism in the Vatican as well. This is in your face. You have the portal in the back. We have 3 spirits, 3 Elohim, demonic entities coming out of the portal. Let's remember that there is the passage in the Bible that I can write here. This is John looking. John says, I saw 3 evil spirits like frogs. I just imagine John trying to look at the alien gray and kind of express like they're not frogs, obviously, but the grays look very amphibious. So I just want to show you the actual Bible passage. Revelation. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. I've been thinking this for years. This is talking about alien grays, in my opinion. How else would John look and have a vision of the alien grays and try and explain it with something that he knows? If I just go to the alien grays typical image here, The alien grays look quite amphibious. They have very often very small slits for noses and mouths. They look amphibious. I would say, yeah, they're frog looking. So just something I wanted to throw out there about the Bible passage. I see 3 unclean spirits like frogs. Just throwing that out there, guys. If this is like a Hadron Collider, that's this big thing that's supposed to just smash particles, okay, why is there this satanic looking guy? Why are there ghosts? Why are there angels? Egyptian scarabs, transformation, resurrection. What are they resurrecting? I wonder what they're trying to resurrect.
On June 16, 2016, CERN, C-E-R-N, the European Organization for Nuclear Research in Geneva, started a project to accelerate charged particles. 10 days later, photographer Christophe Suarez posted a series of photographs of the skies above CERN. Those jaw-dropping photos showed the formation of strange clouds and were proof that the biggest experiment in the world is about to tear a portal into another universe open. Up until now, we've only seen such incidents in the movies. But now, after witnessing it in reality, people are not only concerned, but scared if the scientists have actually found a way to open a portal to another world. What's going to happen next? Are we going to be destroyed or meet ourselves in another dimension? But what really is of everyone's concern is the comeback of CERN. Nobody knows what secrets it holds, and today we're going to try to unravel the hidden truth about the gateway to the parallel universe. The European Organization for Nuclear Research, known by its French acronym CERN, is something that you'll hear about when there's some news about a newly discovered subatomic particle. It is the world's largest particle physics lab, and it has the biggest accelerator in the world, the LHC, or the Large Hadron Collider. The credit for being the biggest goes to its circular tunnel of nearly 17 miles, or 27 kilometers in circumference. The LHC, like all physics experiments, tries to test theoretical predictions and find whether they're flawed. It enables atoms to be smashed together with even greater power at nearly the speed of light, allowing it to recreate conditions comparable to those experienced during the universe's beginning. In 2012, a watershed moment for the LHC was the discovery of the Higgs boson, also known as the God particle.
Oh yeah, that's just insane. Nope.
I'm streaming. I'm upstairs.
This portal opens in public, right? And just watch this, bro. Just watch this. Look at this. And look at everybody run away. No wonder no one was filming anything. Look at this. Hey, this guy's filming.
So this happened on New Year's Day. A large police presence caught on video. Now look at this. This was supposed to be for a fight in a mall. Look at all of these police officers that showed up. This video posted online. Eventually it came out. Maybe it was due to an alien sighting. That's what people in the mall were saying, claiming it was due to an alien sighting in the area. But what really happened? Look at all these police cars.
That's a lot of police.
Look at.
It could just be the police lights or something, but yeah, that was odd. But I haven't seen any good footage for the Miami. This is interesting.
To read up on the story, and a lot of people are interested in the story because it's gone viral.
Now let me just say a few things.
I saw this online,
Yes.
and I saw the video.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell what it was when I looked. And I was thinking, that's weird.
Yeah.
A big creature could be seen standing in front of the entrance to the shopping area in Bayside. Today, the phrases Miami Mall and aliens in Miami have been among the top 10 searches on Twitter's trending tab. Twitter, of course, now called X. And Google News even has several reports questioning the event.
A big creature could be seen standing in front of the entrance to the shopping area in Bayside. Today, the phrases Miami Mall and aliens in Miami have been among the top 10 searches on Twitter's trending tab. Twitter, of course, now called X. And Google News even has several reports questioning the event.
This is like more predictive programming. They're saying from this show, Is This Stranger Days? They're saying, oh look, they're inside a shopping mall, and there's a being. Sounds like a big being.
Got it.
A big creature could be seen standing in front of the entrance to the shopping area. Bayside. Today, the phrases Miami Mall and aliens of Miami have been among the top 10 searches on Twitter's trending tab. Twitter, of course, now called X. And Google News even has several reports questioning the event. A big creature could be seen standing in front of the entrance to the shopping area. Bayside. Today, the phrases Miami Mall and aliens of Miami have been among the top 10 searches on Twitter's trending tab. Twitter, of course, now called X. And Google News even has several reports questioning the event. That shadowy figure, not far from parked Miami police cars, appears to...
It's just interesting how open people are to accepting all of this. It's like right away, people are like, yeah, it's aliens, stuff like that. But when it comes to the gospel, when it comes to salvation, and the weird stuff that we see in the Bible, then it's like, that's not true. But maybe aliens created us.
Be an alien.
Honestly, I think it looks pretty real to me. Alien look pretty chill.
If there were 50 teens looting and setting off fireworks in the mall, where's the video of that?
Ooh.
Where's the video of that?
Ooh.
There's not one video online. If I'm wrong, at me. I'll stand up. At me. There is not one video of 50 teenagers. Every time they get wild in Chicago, you see it on the news.
You do.
Every time they get wild in San Francisco or San Diego or wherever, in one of those same cities in California, saying that they're smashing and grabbing everything they can see.
Right.
There's video all over the place. Where is the video of people setting off fireworks in the mall?
And it's a mall. They have mall surveillance video. Where is the video?
Just show me one.
Just one.
Just show me one video, but they can't do it. And you know why?
Why?
It's like at the start of this video where you got this government disclosure. I'm not buying it. Yes, they were biologicals. Yes, they were flying the vehicles. Yes, they were non-human. Okay, well, show me the pictures. No, because they don't have any evidence, because it's controlled opposition. They've been creating this desire for, yes, aliens, intergalactic, extraterrestrial. They're from somewhere, not another dimension. They're somewhere in the universe, right? And, they've just been changing our psyche with all of these movies to make it just like, yeah, of course, aliens must exist. And I think that is the lie. I think that, all the occult videos that we see, they're quite aware that these are the, Bene Ha Elohim. These are the interdimensional beings, the fallen angels. The occult seems quite aware of it. It's the rest of the world that the rest of the world and a lot of the Christian community as well that need to catch up on that.
Because it didn't happen.
What did happen?
10-foot beings. People saying,
we
people
go.
in the mall. Now, here is what's interesting. There are a lot of people who are on TikTok saying, I was in the mall. I saw the chaos after. Maybe they're saying, I didn't see the aliens. I was on a different side. I was in H&M. Maybe the aliens were at Forever 21. I don't know what they were shopping for.
Well, Forever 21 is good stuff.
Great sales also.
Yeah.
But the people are saying, I took video of all the people running in the mall when we were trying to get out, because, once you see people running, you're supposed to run too. Their videos are gone. Everybody on TikTok who was in the mall is saying, I was taking video. I didn't know what was happening. The videos are not on my phone.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying, what if they were remotely white, allegedly? Now listen.
By the aliens?
I don't want to say too much.
How have I not heard about this? My dad's a police officer in Miami. And he's even running for sheriff. And I just talked to him. He didn't say anything about that. Hey, did you, have you been seeing the alien stuff? Did you see that at Bayside?
What?
Are you serious?
guy looks too young to be his father.
Did they tell you not to talk about it?
What?
Well, look, can you at least say like whatever? So okay, so they're saying it's like a fight broke out. Why did they send so many police cars?
Can't talk about it.
Are you serious? You can say anything.
There's one YouTube channel, I think it's called Fuzzy Creatures, and I think what they say is that obviously these beings or these creatures are able to affect technology, so that every time you're trying to get a good photo, either it doesn't record, or it's a poor picture and things like that. Who knows? What's up here? Interdimensional beings. Yep, fallen angels. And as in the days of Noah. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. I love it when people agree with me.
Esto es en Bayside ahora. Nueve y 35 de la noche de hoy, 1 de enero. Ahí está Bayside.
That is a lot of cops for a bunch of kids fighting. That is really a lot of cops. All right, next. Let's go to the next.
Now remember that I warned you in the Gospel of the Aliens, Part 1.
Go check that out.
That old serpent, the dragon, Lucifer, is the father of all lies.
I also did a live stream where I checked Part 1 out and stuff like that. Obviously, sorry guys, go see. I encourage you to subscribe to this guy's channel. Don't agree with all of his stuff, but he does, he does do some really good documentaries. Anyways, go check it out.
And he is called the Great Deceiver. And one of his main agendas is to create chaos, darkness, and
now, if you look at, let's say, Sumerian tablets, if you look at like all around the world, there's a common story, and the Bible is fitting right into that story. I mean, Abraham comes from Ur of Chaldean, Mesopotamia, Sumer. He's taken out of that that culture. He was aware of their theology. You basically have in the Bible, Yahweh's the good guy, the serpent is the bad guy, and then you look at the occult, you look at other cultures, and it's the opposite. Oh, well, you know what? These guys are the good guys, and Yahweh's the bad guy, and the serpent is the deity to be worshipped and things like that. So it's the truth, but from the bad guy's perspective.
Confusion. just as it was in the beginning of Genesis, before the Most High God said, "There be light." And he wants to create confusion and chaos, darkness within the minds of as many as he can. So if it is all about deception to him and confusion, it really doesn't matter
Look at that.
whether there was literal interdimensional beings at the mall in Miami, or it was just simply a psychological operation tactic. Either way, it is satanic to the core. Because, brothers and sisters, I have told you over and over again, this is exactly how lesser magic is operated. The seed is planted, whether it's in a movie or a TV show, such as Stranger Things. Do you even know how many millions upon millions of people have watched the show Stranger Things? So I want you to think about this logically. As the lesser magic ritual was planted into the minds of the masses, watching that series, as this giant interdimensional demon enters into the mall, here we are at the celebration of the pagan ritual of New Year's. A interdimensional giant appears at a mall in Miami.
Shadow.
So whether it was real or not, what do you think this did to the minds of millions of people subconsciously? Remember, the seed is planted, then it germinates, then it buds, and that is when the ant.
It's like why I feel pressure as a Christian to do a good amount of videos on fallen angels, teaching people about fallen angels. If they're not saved by Christ, is not going to save them. But there are some people who are just think that there's zero truth, there's zero answers to anything in Christianity. So they're falling for the new alien gospel. They're going to be hook, line, and sinker believing in this. And that's why I'm happy to see that there are a lot of Christians talking about, as in the days of Noah, talking about the fallen angels, talking about the Genesis 6 event, talking about all of these things, because Christianity does have an answer, and prophecy is extremely accurate, and prophecy is being fulfilled as we speak. So some people this might be their first step towards salvation. This might be their first step going, well, wait a minute, Jason's a Christian. He seems to be like backing up all of this stuff biblically, and maybe there is something that we should check into. So I think that some people will be able to come to Christ, because I'm trying in a way to pull people away from the alien gospel. I'm trying to pull people away, or at least put in those people in the back of their mind, hey, maybe they are interdimensional. And if they keep on hearing interdimensional, fallen angels, interdimensional, I might be able to save a few. I am Christian. I like to speak with people who are not Christians, so I don't come, in a way that stops the conversation. I have to step back. I have to listen. I have to be open-minded. But I'm 100% Christian, and I'm trying to get you guys to Jesus. I'm just letting you know that. But this is something I think that is biblical. The Bible has a reason for the phenomena, the manifestations that we're seeing. It actually makes even more sense. It answers everything. At least, that's why I'm putting this out. But I do the daily breads as well, which is really just pure theology, and trying to encourage those who are saved, and trying to find some who are not. But this current event, in a way, stuff that's happening, I feel a need to do this as well, as a unorthodox way of reaching perhaps people to take the Bible seriously.
Christ operates his moves on the chessboard of deception. Are you starting to understand how strategic these Luciferians are when taking their orders from the dragon behind the green screen curtain? And remember, it's all about confusion. So that way, a person doesn't know what to believe anymore. There are more PSYOP operations going on than you think, brothers and sisters, on low levels and very high levels. Whether it's focusing on a small group of people to war against their minds, just as the word of God prophesied would happen, that the Antichrist would wage a war against the saints mentally, or whether it is a high level PSYOP warfare to cause a distraction for the masses to look left while something is happening to the right. Either way, both are real. Psychological warfare by the power of witchcraft and lesser magic is real. And there are more people in on it than you think. And at the same time, interdimensional beings, these fallen angels, what you may know as aliens, but the truth is they are principalities and powers, rulers of the darkness of this world and spiritual wickedness in high places, also exist. So whether a video is real or fake, it doesn't take away from the reality that these beings really exist. And not everybody is lying, and not every video and picture is fake. So
yeah, there might be some fakies on here for sure, but they're not all fake.
Have to. And as I've said over and over again, this is why you need to give your life to the Son of God, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, Yeshua the Almighty, so you can be able to discern between what is a lie and what is the truth, what is real and what is false. Brothers and sisters, make no mistake about it. There are really things going on, and these portals are really opening up. Demonic entities are really operating behind the scenes. And these Luciferians are literally planning out psychological operations of warfare against the minds of millions of people. So you better be.
Look at what is it, Sam Smith, all dressed in red, doing his little satanic one of his songs and stuff like that. They were all in red, and it was straight up just a satanic ritual, a satanic ceremony, and millions and millions of people just watching it. And then it's on purpose that it was to be so degenerate. And then you have people talking about it, people making videos about it, discussing, Christian channels discussing, and all of this attention is on this basically satanic ceremony. There's power in consciousness. There's power when people made in the image of God put their undivided attention and awareness on something for hours and hours, binge watching series about this stuff. This is a form of worship, I think. It's exactly, and Satan was in charge of worship. So, the music industry, watch out what you're listening to, because the words do matter, just like any spell.
Be right with the Most High God, and you better have the Holy Spirit living inside of you, that no one will be able to deceive you, that Yeshua the Messiah, truth itself, will be living on the inside of you. And if the truth is in you, then lies cannot enter when they come knocking at the door.
Yeah, that's the quote that I had posted when watching this. Today they call them angels and demons. Tomorrow they will call them something else. And you look at the movie that came out about Jack Parsons, and it's called, guess what? Strange Angel. So if I go over here, Carson movie, Strange Angel. What a coinky dink. Strange Angel. Again, because the rules of the game is you got to let everybody know what you're doing. And when you have stuff like Ronald Reagan, long time ago, saying, I sometimes wonder if aliens from another planet came here, how quickly we'd forget, I'm paraphrasing, how quickly we'd forget about our differences and band together. That's also a possibility. Again, I did a video about it. Bruce is very skeptical about whether Project Bluebeam is an actual technology. All I know now, just looking at China, they're able to make holographic images that are insanely realistic. So they can start either doing fake portals up in the sky for a certain narrative. They're able to put whatever they want, whether it's fake alien invasion, these are possibilities and stuff like that. So there is a great deception coming, and it just, if you know that there's nothing new under the sun, we know who was seeking worship in the pre-Diluvian time. We know who was seeking worship with Babylon, and these are the fallen angels. In the Bible, it's translated Elohim. It's little g's. It says, you guys are God's little g's, but you shall die like men. This is God giving a warning to the angels that he put in charge of the other nations. Through Abraham, Israel was God's portion. He was taking that nation, but he put his ministers, his ministering angels over the other nations. Now, they weren't supposed to just do whatever they wanted to do. Again, they were supposed to still be ministers of God's will, but they did the very opposite. We are looking at a time where there was high technology. We can see in some of the megaliths that there is pretty much diamond cutting or laser cutting. We see old cuts in the rock. They were using high technology. So they were not stupid people. It is we have to again, that's our own conditioning. The idea that angels don't bring with them technology, don't bring with them vehicles. Okay, when they come here, okay, they have chariots. When they come here, they have weapons. They have technology. That's why they shared it with them. Okay, so the angels bring physical stuff with it. And we see that in the end of the age, knowledge will increase, but that's angel technology will increase because they are back, and they are, and I don't think that the government programs, these black op programs, stuff like that, I don't think that they're that they think they're extraterrestrial. I think that they're quite aware that they're interdimensional beings. That's just my thought.
This week in favor of making it. Simply put, I took a photograph that, well, let's just say something was in it that shouldn't have been in it. I don't really see a point in publishing it because for most people, no amount of evidence is ever enough. They always demand a higher standard of evidence than either exists or can be produced quickly. But that said, let's just get right into it.
Don't forget, there's things that will be put on headlines, okay? Like Elon Musk, when it says we're summoning the demon. He goes with AI technology, we are summoning the demon. He didn't just say that for nothing. Look, personality, temperament wise and stuff like that, I like Elon Musk. I'm not going to go around, calling everybody a bunch of devil worshippers or not. I don't know the guy, but he first of all, he's not a Christian. Okay, so he still has the possibility of being deceived. And technology in and of itself, well, to a certain extent, it is not what is evil, but technology, when given to a unregenerated humanity, meaning an unsaved humanity, will be used ignorantly or will be given for a reason as a carrot dangled before a donkey, and then that technology, once it's given, then after ends up turning on us. That's what I think. It's just I think that let's just continue.
It's a bit out there. It really is. But if true, it would explain a lot. So some people are familiar with the entity known as Lamb, which was something that Crowley invoked repeatedly in what he called the Almantra workings, which were done in Central Park, West New York City, which was basically some things he had worked through using sexual and ceremonial magic, using Roddy Minor as something like a medium. Their whole idea was to...
The whole Jeffrey Epstein thing as well, that whole island could have been, used for ceremonial as well, because as you know, in the occult, they love killing babies. They love, hurting children. We see that with Baal. As well as a deity that even the Jews kept on falling into idolatry with, that burning their own children on this this altar with the hands open, and they throw their children. That's in the Bible, that they kept on falling into this kind of idolatry. And we also see that there's ideologies that are attacking as well gender. There's ideologies that that are attacking gender, and especially that this ideology attacking the definition of gender is falling upon innocent children, ending up having medication or hormones given, and procedures as well. That I'm highly against. You want to do these things when you're an adult. You wait till your brain's fully developed to make those kind of decisions. People can't get tattoos before they're 18. There's a lot of things they can't do. I'm going to leave it at that there.
To effectively create a portal that could manifest intelligences from perhaps other dimensions, other planes, whatever word you'd like to use. Now, it's said that the picture was drawn from real life. It's not known whether the entity called itself Lamb or Crowley gave it the name Lamb. It's only known, really, that he considered it to be interdimensional. Which is something that has been known about what people call extraterrestrial. For quite some time, it's been known that, well, it's not as simple as being from another planet. At least in most cases that I've researched. It was, if I recall correctly, originally shown to people at something that Crowley had put together called the Dead Souls Exhibition. It was in the same year published as a front piece to his commentary on Blavatsky's The Voice of the Silence, with this quotation. Lamb is the Tibetan word for way or path, and Lama is he who goeth, the specific title of the gods of Egypt, the treader of the path. In Buddhistic phraseology, its numerical value is 71. the number of this book. Now, that's all Crowley ever really said about the subject of Lamb, at least publicly. And that's all that was really known until...
Crowley was super popular with Hollywood as well. I believe that one of the Beatles, one of the Beatles albums even has Crowley on it. I can try and find that while this plays.
His disciple Kenneth Grant, who he actually gave the drawing to in 1945, had begun to talk about it in his own future workings. The rift in between the spaces of the stars created by the elementary workings created a gateway through which Lamb and other extra-cosmic influences could enter the known universe.
The rift in between the spaces of the stars created by the elementary workings created a gateway through which Lamb and other extra-cosmic influences could enter the known universe.
Later, this portal was enlarged by a jet propulsion laboratory founder and rocket fuel scientist named Jack Parsons.
So this guy had no formal training, and just all of a sudden, you know, this deep rocket propulsion technology, he just had an epiphany and, you know, became like the rocket man. If you go into Tesla, same thing. Tesla, in his writings, he talks about being in contact with interdimensional beings as well that gave him information. This is like an underlying commonality in a lot of these top scientists. Don't forget that Elon Musk has a lot of respect for Tesla. You know, these interdimensional beings, okay, have the capacity, first of all, one, to read your mind, okay, especially once you open a relationship with it, okay, and the more that you interact, the more that they're able to influence your thoughts and to read your mind. Therefore, that's why the Bible always talks about do not deal with the occult, don't talk to the dead, necromancy, do not speak to the dead. Why? Because when you speak to the dead, you open up a channel where the dead or these interdimensional beings that are just waiting to make some kind of conduit, some kind of contact with you, will show up as a loved one, will show up exactly the way you want it. And I've seen interviews with people initially saying this is my guardian angel, and before you know it, the guardian angel turns on them and they you know, start demanding things to be done. You know, having a home infested with this kind of these kind of negative entities can lead to you know, it's dangerous. So that's why you speak to God, you pray to God the Father, and Jesus Christ is the way to the Father, and you pray to God the Father, acknowledging Jesus Christ as the way, the truth, the life to the Father. Do not talk to angels, because you will not be able to know whether they're good or bad. Okay. Angels bring messages. I know many people, I think, that have had true angelic messages or experiences. I'll tell you one thing: the angel doesn't hang around, doesn't want to be your best friend and to have communications day in and day out. The angels do not do that. If you have one tagging around wanting to be your best friend, chances are that that being wants something from you, your soul.
Fuel scientist named Jack Parsons, and the Scientology and Dianetics founder L. Ron Hubbard in 1946.
I'm just going to read here
which some people consider to...
Here it says, there are many commonalities between what we call an alien life form and a demonic entity. An occultist like Aleister Crowley wrote about the connection, explaining that an intelligence was brought into physical manifestation via a portal that was created during sex magic ritual called Alma Latra, working in 1918. The entity that was summoned called itself Lamb, and Crowley considered it to be an interdimensional being, and it strongly resembled the great aliens of modern UFO research. There's also Jacques Vallée, who is a non-Christian. Don't think he's a theist even, and he's a secular ufologist, some experience with NASA, and stuff like that. And he came to the conclusion that two conclusions: that they were interdimensional, not within this dimension, this physical universe, and that they were malevolent. These ascended masters, why are they so obsessed with abduction experiences, cruel abduction experiences? Why can't they use some anesthesia if they're that advanced? Why are they, it seems like everything has to do with reproduction, and again, don't forget, Nephilim happened to be giants before the flood and after, but Nephilim, coming likely from the word nephal, fallen. The Nephilim, okay? Don't fall. The Nephilim are angel human hybrids. Therefore, whatever they're doing, building this army or building, a new race of angel human hybrids, they want them to look very much like us, as much as possible. I don't think that as in the days of Noah, so will it be at the coming of the Son of Man. I'm not totally convinced that it could be giants, but it doesn't have to be. Nephilim doesn't just mean gigantes, they happen to be, but the new incursion to me would make a lot more sense, that they are trying to infiltrate the population with beings that look as human as possible.
Who have led to something of a monumental paradigm shift in human consciousness. A monumental paradigm shift in human consciousness.
A monumental paradigm shift in human consciousness.
Look at that! Look at that! I want to go home. I am Oz, the great and powerful. Who are you? Who are you?
I want to go home. I am Oz, the great and powerful. I am Oz.
Yeah, it's pretty much, again, Hollywood. It looks exactly an artist rendition of this artist rendition of Lamb. Darla was asking about, Jason, what about the shadow people in our face? I think the shadow people, it says that when the Nephilim died, that they became the evil spirits that are on earth, and these evil spirits torment mankind. There's angels. The angels, at least the angels that created the first incursion in Genesis 6, where they had sex with the daughters of men. It says in the Bible that they're under judgment. They're in Tartarus. We know Tartarus comes from where the Greek Titans as well. And the Titans is just Greek culture talking about these Nephilim. Okay, so I remember hearing one atheist say, like, you Christians are atheists as well. He goes, you don't believe in Zeus, you don't believe in Hercules, you don't believe in all of these other gods. You just believe in this God. So you guys, in a way, are as well. And I'm like, boy, you have no idea how crazy informed Christians are, because an informed Christian would say that no, there's a lot of truth about those names. You have the same bad guys that are being called through different cultures by different names, but the stories are very, very similar. So the shadow people just make sense. They're large, they're tall, they are the evil spirits. These are the spirits of the Nephilim. The angels, it doesn't mean that the angels that have fallen look evil, look like horned beasts and stuff like that. It says that Satan can show up as an angel of light. That's why we kind of have to be very careful. I think that some people have this ability, others don't. There's also the pineal gland that, in modern times, I do believe that the pineal gland gives us a certain amount of ability to see into the other dimension. It's quite possible that our pineal glands, in the majority of the population, whether it's from fluoride of red and stuff like that, has in a way been calcified, and stuff like that. The occult relies heavily on the pineal gland, and if we look over here, we have the pine cone in the Vatican. Here's the pine cone at the Vatican. But I mean, the majority of the Vatican, is all of their art just is pagan art from everywhere and anywhere. But there's something up as well with the pine cone. Like I said, the majority of the occult is not fairy tale. It's not lies. It's just that all you need is 1 or 2% lies about it. Like, oh yeah, this is all true. They're the good guys. There's the lie. It's enough for you to go down very dangerous paths. So people that do see the demons are not evil. In fact, that's what the evil spirits do. That's what the Nephilim spirits do. They go around tormenting. They scare people. I think when you get into the occult, for sure, you're dealing with those things as well. But I think the occult opens up the doorway to actual fallen angels.
Okay, well, it ain't filling. Doesn't sound so very hollow. I'm going with sound. Okay.
What big and powerful. I am I. What big and powerful.
Richard and I have been building rockets since we were teenagers. We want to change it.
There you go, strange angel. Ha ha ha, wink, 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 nudge, nudge. Just mentioned, a nice following in Hollywood. You can see that you got Aleister Crowley here on the Beatles cover, just hidden right over there.
Aviation history forever. Our ultimate goal is to take man into space.
Man into space. This is a comic book fantasy. You'll blow yourself up.
How'd it go?
Every time I think we're making headway, we take a step back.
The bank called again. We're 2 months behind.
You truly believe that you, Jack Parsons, can build a rocket that will take us all to the moon?
Yes.
Preposterous. Looks like someone's moving into the old Weller place. Who moves in the middle of the night?
We'll have to go introduce ourselves. Hi, we're Mr. and Mrs. Parsons from next door.
I'm Ernest. I'll take that. My wife thinks you got a screw loose.
I'm trying to find my true path. There's only two kinds of people in this whole world. The ones who want to follow the rules and the ones who want to break them. Who says we have to obey?
Father, how do you know when you're in the presence of evil? Jack seems compelled.
My father taught me about symbols like this. He said that they were gateways.
Gateways to what?
He said about gateways. Gateways to what?
Rockets are the future, whether you want to believe in them or not.
You can be the man you've always dreamed of being. You just need to have an open mind.
There's Project Paperclip, same thing. Nazi Germany, heavily involved in the occult, looking for the Vril, the chi, this energy force, and a lot of those scientists, those Nazi scientists, they Project Paperclip basically says that they wiped their history clean because the United States heavily wanted this occult knowledge. So they took all of these, and they were evil, but they were brilliant in respect to what the United States was looking for: reversed engineered angel technology or portals that would again bring them power and technology. And
I promise you, our life will never be boring.
what's it say here? It says, it is very evident that Jack Parsons knew about these fallen angels, also known as aliens, and clearly was in communication with these demons to receive this knowledge to build the first rocket engine.
He believed he was picking up signals from Mars. Tesla reported this otherworldly communication and proclaimed his belief in extraterrestrials in February of 1901. In an article titled Talking with the Planets. Tesla became obsessed with trying to receive further radio communications from other planets. Based on these transmissions that Tesla was receiving, he developed a theory that this extraterrestrial presence had been on Earth for a millennium, that these extraterrestrials had been controlling mankind from the very beginning.
The pictures of the portals are coming very soon. This was the main thing I wanted you guys to see.
Something which suggests that Einstein was communicating with a realm outside our galaxy. A realm that some ancient astronaut theorists believe may be designed by extraterrestrials.
There's some cool footage.
Well, now they heard me.
No, they probably didn't. This was playing.
Oh, okay. Well,
She said she's
like I said, if you record me and block out my face, that's fine.
Oh,
No
okay.
names. No names attached. Not right now. I'm
Here.
in the middle of paperwork. No
hurry
names
up.
attached. You block out my face.
Yeah, I can block out your
There
face.
is no hurrying up.
I can
Okay?
block out
You
your
want me
face.
to
Yeah. You just dangled that in front of me like a little
You want
carrot.
me to manage
She was
my
like,
side of
I'm going to tell my story, but not
What?
now.
Block out my face. I don't like the internet.
Yeah. Tell me
I
when.
think the internet
When
is
you're
wonderful.
ready, I will block out your
You
face.
have your evil feelings. I think that the internet is wonderful.
Okay. So she might come and tell her story. How long will it take for you to realize? Okay, so if this is real and it's not just somebody like putting something up in the sky with their phone kind of thing, yeah, this looks portal-ish, very portal-ish to me. So maybe keep your eyes out for this kind of footage. Let me know if you're finding any. He writes, so what evidence will you believe and what will you disregard? Because if the word of God says portals exist, then some have to be real. Crazy. That is very intriguing.
This one was also filmed yesterday night. You can't tell me something's not going down. Like, something is going on.
So the one thing about the shadow people is the majority of the time that my wife has spoken about that, it's always been when she's in bed. So there's always that question about sleep paralysis. That if you look about shadow people, very often you'll see the topic of shadow people, and then you'll see sleep paralysis. And I'm not denying that sleep paralysis is a thing. Part of sleep paralysis is that just on the periphery, you'll see some scary thing. I've asked my wife, well, can you move? Can you say anything? Can you do anything? And she's always had a memory of it that, well, I don't say anything. I don't move because I don't want them to know that that I can see them. And I think that's pretty smart. But the reason that I've been bringing up the shadow people, and yes, they are always above 6 feet, right? She's always said that they're extremely tall, that they're darker than the darkness of the room. Often there's a hat, and if you look at the Hat Man, the Shadow Hat Man, go check that into Google. And this is a global phenomenon, like I said, could be linked to sleep paralysis. Okay, fair enough. But she's recently seen this being, and even the tallest of all of them, and we have extremely high ceilings, easily 12 feet at least. Yeah, 12 feet. And she was awake, she was doing the dishes and she turned and she saw, and this thing, like, she only saw the chest, meaning that's how tall it was. That was not while she was sleeping. She wasn't paralyzed. She just, I think, pretended that she didn't see it and kind of went quickly up to her room. I'm telling you, it really helps me not eat popcorn at 2 a.m. I think twice now before going to carb up. It has really helped with my weight loss, the fear of the shadow people. Thank you, shadow people. And she will be able to tell that story and more, hopefully, another time.
But they'll try to tell you it's normal. Yeah. In the UK, these things just start popping up in the sky. I'm sure someone's going to try to rationalize it, right? Seen by multiple people. Maybe things like this is why the Bible says look to the sky. And this just happened over Poland. That reminds me of something. Remember the cloud that was over Turkey and then disaster? Then the cloud that was over Brazil, then disaster? Wonder what it means. Remember, it's over Poland. And I just showed you all this one a few days ago. This happened right after Christmas. All of these are happening at the same time.
Kind of like the Ouroboros. You guys know what Ouroboros is? Yeah. Ouroboros. Symbol. Always a snake, right? That darn snake. Ouroboros. The serpent that's eating its own tail. Wonder if this means something. Because that's what jumped in my head, Ouroboros, when I saw this thing.
At the same time, and that stuff going around is fire. I showed you in the other video. It's literal fire going around. It's like a portal. Fire going around. It's like a portal.
Ask yourself the question. At the birthing of the 20th century, when the prophecy of Daniel began to unravel, that knowledge would increase, have you ever considered that it would also be a warning that the knowledge of the occult and ancient mysteries pertaining to the rituals that would unlock and illegally open these demonic portals for these entities to come through and teach the rulers of the world technology that the dragon would need to usher in the end of the days? Over and over, you see this trend of prominent people that played a very impactful role, whether it's inventions in technology, and those who had such a grasp on the minds of the masses. You will see this common denominator from Einstein to Walt Disney, and the list goes on and on. This fascination with the occult, the New Age, and the teachings of Mystery Babylon, with a desire to get into contact with interdimensional beings.
Don't forget, like, seraphim are pretty much fiery serpent or reptilian. All right, so seeing this fiery snake looking thing,
beings that we know as the fallen angels. Many things that are not taught when history is being explained. Some of you may know.
because what I think is the interdimensional beings can appear and manifest as they wish. They're shapeshifters. They're able to appear solid looking, like vessels. They're able to appear as men. They're able to appear as orbs of light. They're able to appear also like frogs. So this alien gray deception, they could have decided, okay, look, we appeared, before this way we're going to do the Great Deception. We're going to appear as creators again, but we're intergalactic. We're not going to be pulling, the demigod kind of stuff like that. We're just going to be alien brothers here to deceive mankind. We're going to tell them that, we're going to rip everything from God. Oh, no, well, we are your creators because, we manipulated life here and we've allowed you to grow. And now we're coming back and now we have all the solutions. You can just take a few of these upgrades because, it's time to travel, travel the Fleeties kind of thing. So even the appearance of the Greys could just be a common delusion, a deception, a mask that they're putting on, that they've been working, because the Greys, kind of appeared in the 20th century, really. Our idea of the Grey comes primarily from what we see on television.
Or the occult. It is said that Hitler would travel across the earth looking for as many occult power objects as he could find. But it wasn't just Hitler. It seems that everybody in leadership positions, whether government or military, were fascinated in the occult. The question is, what were they able to tap into? What dimensional portals were they able to open? And you cannot undermine this because the scientists within the German powers were so important to America that there was something called Operation Paperclip that went after the war. They,
like Lucifer, light bearer. This is a statue of Lucifer. You guys do realize that, right? You have halo, you have the sun crown. He's a light bearer. Look into to this now. If you look at Washington, especially, all of just 1 second. I'll just play this.
He literally flew in the top scientists that were under Hitler's authority. But remember, these scientists weren't just scientists. Many of them were into the occult. It is very clear that Hollywood makes it very known in video games and in movies that Hitler and his regime were tapping into occult powers in direct contact with these demonic interdimensional beings. But I want to talk to you about the Anunnaki. But I want to go a step further, and I want to talk to you about the U.S. interest in the Anunnaki.
Now, the Anunnaki, this is Sumerian, religion. Very, very important, because they might say, oh, humans have been around for, around 200 million years, blah, 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 and stuff like this. But if we look historically as far as we can go, pretty much we're limited to Sumeria, to the Sumerian religion. And that makes this an extremely old religion. And again, we see these winged creatures coming down. So, and it's interesting because I do believe in the flood. I do believe that there was cultures with high technology prior to the flood, Atlantis and stuff like that. Is a good example. But when we look deep under the oceans, we also reveal many, many cultures that are like, wow, there's ruins of some ancient culture deep under the oceans and stuff like that. So it's just interesting that we like to say that we've been around for 200 million years. We like to push, the long spans of time with Darwinian evolution. But it's interesting that as far back as we can go is about maybe 4,000-5,000 years. We could push push Sumerian culture. And again, we have these sky people. We have, if you look in Christianity, we have the angels, but we have the cherubim, and the cherubim have faces of an eagle, faces of an ox, faces of a man, faces. So when these fallen cherubim, when these fallen creatures come down, they would often take on the image of one of the heads. So that's why you'll often see the eagle heads and stuff like that. And you see this in Egypt, and a lot of these bird-looking heads. Artistic, license, or is the truth a lot crazier than we think? I'll go for the latter.
And if you don't know, this is in Iraq. Some of the most ancient depictions of the fallen angels reside within this land, this ancient land of Babylon. And I'll never forget a brother in the ministry who was a soldier in the U.S. Army told me while he was in Iraq, he found it very strange how high-ranking officials were so fascinated with the museums that would have these ancient artifacts of the Anunnaki that we know are fallen angels. So what exactly was the high-ranking officials in the U.S. government really after? What is it they wanted to get their hands on and try to figure out and try to decipher? Brothers and sisters, you cannot be...
This was found. Again, that is a portal. And we're seeing things like Shiva the Destroyer. That is Shiva coming through a portal. Lots of talk about portals these days.
That naive to think that all of these ancient artifacts are...
I think that's Enlil or Enki. Again, a portal, right? Entity coming through a portal. Nothing new under the sun.
Across the earth.
What was done will be done again.
That explain, that depict these beings that came down from heaven. Now we know them as fallen angels, according to Genesis 6 and other scriptures as well. But you cannot ignore this reality that there is evidence of these fallen angels all across the earth. But brothers and sisters, have you considered that there was technology beyond our understanding? And the reason they wrote it into the stones and into walls is because they had the intelligence to know that it would last for hundreds and thousands of years as a way to declare their false glory, that these fallen angels would rule as gods on the earth, just as the Bible told us about. Wouldn't they want to inscribe it into structures that would endure and last for hundreds and thousands of years, rather than on simple papers and technology that would perish within time?
Notice they were holding the pine cone in the previous picture.
You see the word of God.
Oh, you just saw again, it was holding a pine cone.
God is very significant because the message of the Most High God cannot be destroyed. That's why we have the scriptures even today, thousands of years later. But you see, the Anunnaki, the fallen angels, needed to make sure that their false message would be preserved throughout the centuries.
There's also the thing about during the Iraq War, I think there was an encounter with a giant that came running out of one of the caves with 6 fingers, 6 toes, red hair, and supposedly they killed that giant. Let me show you over here. There's also, weird stuff like the Pope going to Antarctica. To bless the area. There's a lot of stuff happening in Antarctica, and there's a lot of possibilities and a lot of stories, and not sure what's going on, but I think that there's some ancient stuff in Antarctica that that we don't know about. Admiral Byrd, that story, I remember that was very popular during Flat Earth and stuff like that. Project Fishbowl, things like that. I don't know if all these things are real. I'm just trying to give you the widest scope and just kind of brainstorm with you guys. Let's have some people on here very soon. Let's let some of the regular viewers that I can trust here, if you guys are interested to come on, I'm just gonna invite you. We'll try and watch together a little bit, but obviously like to give the mic to people that are interested in this topic. So there is the link that I just posted, StreamYard link. When you click the StreamYard link, if you do come on, it's important to shut off all other tabs, because what you're doing now is you're watching on a YouTube channel. And when you click that link from that YouTube channel, it's going to open up a StreamYard. Then I'm going to let you on, but then you're going to have the stream playing in the background. That's what usually creates the echo. Some people, the first times they come on, they have a lot of trouble with the echo, and I'm going to have to kick you. I'm not going to give you too much time. We'll give a few minutes trying to figure it out. But if the echo is still present, then we're I'm gonna have to boot you. But this is for people, if you're interested in coming on, sharing your thoughts about this, then I welcome you to come on. Now is the time.
My fellow citizens, at this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger. On my orders, coalition forces have begun striking selected targets of military importance to undermine Saddam Hussein's ability to wage war. These are opening stages of what will be a broad and concerted campaign.
Many observers believe seizing Iraq's oil reserve and ousting Hussein were the primary reasons for the U.S.-led invasion. But what if they were wrong? What if there really was a weapon of mass destruction of unprecedented power? What if Saddam Hussein had Stargate? That's the real reason for the invasion of Iraq, according to author Michael Salla. Dr. Salla, an Australian national, obtained his MA in philosophy from the University of Melbourne, then his doctorate in government from the University of Queensland in 1993. After spending 2 years as an associate at the Center for Middle Eastern and Central Asian Studies in Australia, he joined the faculty of the Department of Political Science at the Australian National University in Canberra as a lecturer. Salla began his Stargate theory by presenting proof of historical extraterrestrial occupation in Iraq. He states the strongest available evidence for a historical ET presence in Iraq comes from cuneiform tablets directly recording the beliefs and activities of the ancient Sumerians, whose civilization began almost overnight in 3800 BC. Most of these cuneiform tablets relate stories of the Sumerians interacting with their gods. Archaeologists initially accepted that these were merely myths and attached little importance to them other than.
So that's what the majority of people are doing. They're like, oh, look, these guys were clueless, so they thought that these were gods, but actually these are extraterrestrial aliens. Hence the deception, and that deception will remain as long as people are basically non-believers. That veil will be held up. They will not believe the Bible until they come to God through Christ, and it's the Holy Spirit that testifies to the truth. And if you don't have that, then my fear is that you will fall for the gospel of the aliens, the false narrative. And it's such a subtle change, right? Oh, they're aliens, they're extragalactic. Oh, they're fallen angels, they're interdimensional. Such a slight change, because everything else is pretty much true. And that's why I'm speaking out, because I think that people are ready, after decades and decades of programming from television and movies and stuff in Hollywood, to accept these people with open arms. Okay. Even though in my head, it's like, well, if they are our creators, who created them? People like to project that to God and say, well, same thing can be said about God, Jason. Not really. If time, space, and matter came into existence at one point, whatever that source is that created, call it the Big Bang, if you will, whatever the source was of this, if it created the material, it's immaterial. If it created the fabric of time, because time at one point did not exist, then it is a source that is timeless. And when we look at initially we thought that the universe was infinite. Then again, we understand that if something was able to explode nothing into everything and create this vastness, imagine the source of this that is there and existent before spatial reality. So it is spaceless. Sounds like God to me. Doesn't sound like a creator that's an alien somewhere.
And giving them insight into the mythology and religious beliefs of the ancient Sumerians. That viewpoint received a major challenge in 1976 when the Sumerian scholar Zechariah Sitchin published the first series of books on his translations.
Now, Zechariah Sitchin, in my opinion, maybe a lot of people won't like that. He's a fraud. He does not have any education in ancient, meaning he's not educated to be able to read ancient Sumerian tablets, like he said. I think Michael Heiser is one who does have a PhD in ancient languages. Called him out as a fraud. I think that he's not fraudulent. I think the guy probably 100% believes it. But I think that he was very dishonest in his ability to actually decipher the tablets. That's just my thought.
Of thousands of Sumerian tablets. Rather than treating the stories of the gods as myths that had little empirical relevance, Sitchin interpreted the tablets as literal descriptions of events as they occurred in the time. Sitchin's translations of the Sumerian cuneiform tablets reveal precise information on a range of topics that he argues could not have been possible for a civilization at the initial stages of its development, with no obvious predecessor civilization to borrow from. According to Sitchin, the Sumerians had detailed knowledge of all the planets in the solar system, understood the precession of the equinoxes, and also had an understanding of complex medical procedures, and that all their knowledge came from a race of extraterrestrial visitors known as the Anunnaki. Those who from heaven to earth came, who were not only teachers for the Sumerians, but also played a role in the creation of the human race. So what do the Sumerians and the Anunnaki from 3800 BC have to do with Saddam Hussein and the invasion of Iraq? Well, according to Salah, the U.S.-led 2003 invasion of Iraq was launched because the former dictator...
I'll let you check out this one here. Just give me a second. You can check on YouTube here. Michael Heiser, his opinion on Zechariah Sitchin. I really trust Michael Heiser. I've learned a lot from him. So yeah, Michael Heiser, a challenge to the works of Zechariah Sitchin. There's a lot more on Heiser and ancient astronaut theory and things like that. Just, get the criticism, check it out. You might be wrong. Maybe Zechariah was legit. Just trying to give you alternate points of view.
Saying portal to an alien world. He believes that the United States and its allies invaded the country to take control of Hussein's access to alien weapons through the strait. Salah stated, according to the British newspaper, the Daily Star, I think it was a big part of the reason why the Bush administration went to Iraq, to stop Hussein from revealing this information, to also get control of the Stargate for themselves. Salah says the portal was located under one of Iraq's ancient ziggurat temples. He believes that the US, Russia, Germany, and France have been aware that the Anunnaki left behind some very high-tech apparatuses and possibly weaponry when they abandoned Earth around 1700 BC
I'm just kind of looking at the chat. I called the police 911 to have an ambulance to pick up because I could barely breathe and was having shortness of breath. The police were like, "Why you need an ambulance? Are you hurt? No. Can you talk? Yes. What is wrong? I can't breathe." Well, it's not up to the police to ask you why. If you need an ambulance, you call an ambulance. I hope you're okay. I hope you're not dying while I'm doing a stream here. Get off the internet. Call 911. You're not hurt and no one is hurting you, so call a taxi. Okay. Anyways, call 911 if you're not feeling good.
That Saddam Hussein gained from Russian, German, and French archaeological teams for years in an attempt to unravel and perhaps reverse engineer this apparatus, which Salah claims is probably far in advance of any technology.
What do you think about that? I think that is 100% Hollywood, who love Aleister Crowley, just more of a homage to him.
Rays from the Reticuli, which is supposedly warehoused at Area 51 in Nevada. So what is the exact significance of the Stargate and why did the U.S. want it so badly? According to Salah, on the part of the Hussein regime, control of the Stargate would allow him to activate it and to fulfill prophecy by facilitating the return of the advanced race of ETs, the elite Anunnaki. Hussein probably imagined the return for his loyalty to the Anunnaki. He would be rewarded with some position of great authority. Perhaps he would even see himself as some kind of human savior, facilitating the return of the gods who solve all of humanity's problems and end the rule of the clandestine government organizations perpetuating non-disclosure of the ET presence. So what proof is there that the Stargate even existed? He notes the powerful diplomatic support given by Germany and France to the Hussein regime, warning off a preemptive strike. So powerful has been this support that the U.S. Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld disparagingly referred to them as Old Europe in response to a report on January 22, 2003. You're thinking of Europe and Germany and France. I don't. I think that's Old Europe. If you look at the entire NATO Europe today, the center of gravity is shifting to the east. And there are a lot of new members. But you're right, Germany has been a problem, and France has been a problem. Rather than backtracking on what was a diplomatic bombshell, the Bush administration has instead continued to go to extraordinary lengths.
Just want to show you this image here, artist's rendition of a cherubim. Again, this idea that angels have wings and stuff like that, it's a very specific kind of angelic being, the cherubim, to a certain extent, maybe even the sapphire. And here you see ox, lion, a human face, and one of an eagle. You see the wing aspect of it, and you can see that a fallen cherubim could manifest itself to humans, not necessarily as having all of the heads when he manifests here, but choosing one. And for example, the eagle and the wings. And we can see that in Sumerian art. The Bible is not doing its own little thing over here, and it fits in human history. It fits in what the other cultures were saying, except the other ones were worshiping these rebellious ones. And eventually, Yahweh took Abraham and said, you know what? Israel, I will make a nation and they will be my portion. And it was very important that he chose Abraham and made a nation so that the sacred scriptures of the Bible, as well as the Savior of the world, Jesus Christ, the Messiah, could come. This is why he chose Abraham, so that we would have written document that explains exactly what is happening in the end of days. Brian Green, Brianna. Hi, Brianna. Brianna,
Hi,
right?
I'm also Miss McGillicuddy.
Oh, hey, nice to meet you.
Hey.
Finally. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a nickname my grandma gave me when I was little because I was funny, like I Love Lucy. So that was her maiden name on the show, was Miss McGillicuddy. So stuck with me.
So what's your thoughts on all this crazy stuff?
I remember in 2016, I watched my youngest would have been 2 at the time. And I remember watching the CERN live stream. I think it was some link off of Facebook at the time. And I just remember going to myself, like, I was kind of iffy into the new age, not into any of the stuff I got into a few years later. But I remember thinking, this looks like a ritual. Like, I've seen enough. I as a former fantasy novel writer, I was like, this is a ritual. Like, those are people that are literally, I mean, does anyone see what I'm seeing? That's what I looked at the screen thinking, this has nothing to do with science. This has nothing to do with science. And then when they first showed the statue of Shiva, I just remember thinking what I learned in yoga classes about the different Hindu gods and, the goddess in us and this and that. And I remember thinking, she's the goddess of destruction and war. What does this have to do with particle acceleration? I mean, other than like the government's going to weaponize it, right? Mm-hmm. But the concept of, if any, and a lot of people didn't even know like what was going on. They thought like, oh, it's some cool science thing. I mean, right? That's literally all people thought, is like, oh, it's a cool another science thing. And it's like, well, people thought the same thing in the Manhattan Project, like, and there was a whole city of people living there at that time. So, thinking that that's just what they're doing. But the fact that the majority of the world, now it took me surrendering to Christ to, I'm sorry, I'm shaking here, but to surrender to Christ, to really just know that I know nothing. I know nothing. This world is crazy. I don't know who I'm fooling thinking that, my ego is going to run this show and I've got all the answers. But all those, once that veil was lifted, once you see, you can't unsee. And all those little moments of nudging when I was like, does anyone see what I'm seeing? This doesn't look right. That was really just that discernment that was there all along. That in the New Age, I got confused with like my clairs and my spirit guides and all that. And without realizing that it truly is, we live in a supernatural world, but we have a supernatural God, and he can do anything. And the only thing is that we can do here is what the devil's tools have given us, what the Nephilim left here. I mean, this is the devil's kingdom, is mimic. And so the CERN thing is mimicking and using, if anything, probably the same similar technologies, maybe done a little different, that were pre-flood. Like I started in the chat, I brought up Göbekli Tepe because you brought up how we carbon date things so crazy, with especially with like the likes of the pyramids. There's a lot of hush hush, and there's a lot of rabbit holes that I've gone down with that, involving things like the Smithsonian and all of that. But Göbekli Tepe is a great example that, if anything, if people are really looking at what we're seeing, it's showing not only something that dates 11,000 plus years, but it was buried on purpose. And being buried on purpose is very much like indicative of preservation, and if anything, perhaps maybe a little ritualistic. You bury all kind. We can get into all that another time, but on purpose, it's like preserving it for the future. And in those engravings and carvings that are on some of those pillars, they show a vulture, which at the time represents kind of what you'd imagine a phoenix. It has different animals. There aren't any necessary degrees of misogyny, genetic manipulation, which the Nephilim had dealt with. There's not really much of that. They're natural type animals showing, but it depicts these arms on one of them kind of coming down, like as if the pillar is much larger than a man. So it's either perhaps a giant, or it's maybe indicative to the concept of God's arms around us. But the only word that is just the only word on the entire area is God. And it's big G God. Graham Hancock kind of goes into it. He tends to kind of, I've noticed, stay a little away from the biblical. But I would have loved to pick Michael Heiser's brain on that, on this specific subject. But it more or less depicts, from what I've been able to research and gather, the concept of this is what will happen if you don't follow this plan. What will happen is death, the flood. Don't mess with the animals, keep them like this. God's hands are here to protect us and watch over us if we do it like this, if we keep things this way. And I thought that was another one of those. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And growing up, I wanted to be either marry Indiana Jones or be Indiana Jones or his daughter or something. So my fascination with the ancient world was easily sparked even further with my now biblical view, but even in my New Age days. But look at the Dead Sea Scrolls. I mean, there's always, everything happens for a reason. Enoch speaks of basically that these are for the future. And what perfect place. I mean, the I guess they're not monks, they were priests that had high level powers of discernment and were prophets and were never wrong. They were never, no discount to my different religious sects that still have prophets, but they were never wrong. They were the guardians and protectors of these, and they placed them, I believe, and I deeply feel like it must be true, that they placed them there specifically to be found by those little shepherd boys. Now, whether they painted it with the rock and saw it all, but all of this stuff is being found. Yes, Göbekli Tepe, I think, was found in the 90s, but all these little seeds, we're supposed to be aware. We're supposed to open our eyes and see that this CERN stuff, crazy. It's just, it is definitely demonic. It is definitely us. It's like people doing the DMT and ayahuasca. They're the quick trip back doors into a place that you have no business being in. And we're not equipped to be there, which is why, like with sleep paralysis and the different levels that occur within, I've learned a lot about like the pineal gland and just the way our brain works, and especially to just help figure out what was going on with me. But God has all those little seeds are there. The trail is there. We just have to be open, to listening to Him to show us that this is not right. These ritualistic gates into this area is not the way, because Jesus said it Himself, I am the truth, the way, and the life, and only through me will you get to the Father. So anything other than that, it may hold power, but it's nothing like His. And
that's where I find myself kind of like teetering, where it's like, I want to preach the gospel, I want to bring people to Jesus, but I see a lack of interest in the Bible, and I see this fascination, this worship, really, of aliens, and people just waiting for it and talking about, they're in the middle of the desert kind of thing, where probably there's energetic fields in certain areas where that activity is just naturally like one of the lines and stuff like that. And they're like opening up your heart chakra to them. And I've spoken to a guy, because I've played in my 20s with the Kundalini serpent energy, trying to get enlightened and stuff like that. And I had it'll let you find it. It is a terrifying. It is. I mean. And I'm telling him, I'm like, no, I'm a Christian. Like, I believe in the chakras. And I specifically said, it just makes sense that there are spiritual centers in our spiritual body, like we have organs. But I said, I don't think we should be playing with those gears. I think that you should invite the Holy Spirit, and through the Holy Spirit, just like I don't tell my kidneys, I think you should be filtering more sodium.
Right.
oh, heart, you better like up it a few beats. It's like everything's automated, you know. And
Yeah.
I was trying to tell the guy that you are having real supernatural experiences, except they're demonic, first of all, and that
Yeah.
as a Christian, I believe in it, but I think that we are not to be playing with those spiritual centers, and hopefully the guy listened, because what he was talking, I've read about spiritual emergence and spiritual emergency, and it's actually on sites where people do these meditations, chakras and stuff like that. They talk about possible hazards to it. And when you listen to the hazards, basic psychosis, and the Holy Spirit doesn't create confusion, doesn't make you make a fool of yourself or lose your job or end up in a psych ward. You know, so
absolutely.
It's
and you know, with along with having those, you know, like the ley lines, if you will, of where to be, there are a number of stories that and encounters that I've researched that are dealing with, you know, like ayahuasca and DMT. Majoritively, these kind of resort type things people are doing now with ayahuasca, where they go to these native places and they have a shaman that does these specific things. And but even the shamans will tell them, like, only few can even get through. Like, and some of them will have to do a pre thing where they have to like blow something, the special powder up their nose, and then if the person starts like retching and freaking out, then they already have a demon, and they don't want to take that demon with them through the trip, because you could, you know, it could be real bad, because that could get brought back to the village, you know, it could open a larger door. And I mean, and no one's doing this at like college parties, or like they're not going, hey, let's be safe, and like let's you know what I mean? They're not. They're these people who have been doing it for so long do understand there's problems, but the biggest problem is that I unintentionally and familiar line had doors open that I didn't even know were open, and then and then maybe getting into things that opened other doors that I, you know, wasn't aware of what opening the door meant. I mean, you know, for the most part, we think like, if a door opens, so that must be a great thing, right? Like that's the direction I'm supposed to go. But
not going to be open to you.
But yeah, and like with the sleep paralysis, you know, like that started when I was a little girl. I remember when I think I was about 7 or 8, and I started seeing this before sleep. I would start seeing these little black things kind of crawling around on the ground. I mean, the best way I could describe it is it was like a less perfect shaped little Pac-Man ghost, but black, you know, not really eyes, but, you know, just this weird shape. And they would always go back. They would, as soon as I would see them, it's like they already knew, but as soon as I would be like, oh, like I see you, or, oh, they're there, then it would like go back up in the closet. And then at the same house, and I told my parents about this, but at the same house, it was shortly before, a little after we'd moved. There's 2 older ladies that lived next door. One of them was very ill when we first moved in, and the other one was she was more lucid. And one of them passed away. And we never even got to meet the lady who passed away because she was bedridden. And they were both kind of private. And I woke up at one night, and there's a woman standing on the end of my bed. And I just remember like closing my eyes and then opening my eyes, and she was still there, and she was just smiling at me. But I just put my blanket on my head and started singing my favorite hymn, which was "I Love You, Lord." And then after a while, it was gone, and then I went to go sleep in my parents' room because I was too scared. Well, the neighbor lady, who was still with us, who was still alive, had come over one morning. I used to play piano in there. I had my grandmother's old upright piano in my room, so I practiced in there. And I have the window open on the side of my bedroom, and this woman was just right there. But this was a real person, not a apparition. And she said, "Oh, my friend Mary said that she really likes to hear you play." And I was like, "What?" And my mom, my bedroom door was open. She just walks by and is like, "Oh, hi," because there's this lady with the window went down as the older home, and she's just right there. And she said, "Oh, I was just enjoying your daughter's music." But my mom heard what she said to me, and my mom also knew that I had seen this like ghost, whatever.
Yeah.
Now I didn't know until a few years later, because that kind of like just got swept under the rug with my mom, and but I didn't know that I wasn't the only one that had seen these kinds of things. That it had happened before in the family, and it didn't happen for a number of years later. As far as like the full-on sleep paralysis, I would see little things kind of similar to that, not full-on interactive apparition or whatever, but and it took later for me to understand what even that actually is. But the sleep paralysis, if it's okay, I could let you know. I genuinely feel for your wife, and if anything, I feel guided that if I could tell what happened to me, maybe she'll feel comfortable talking, or just knowing that she's not alone, and that it is something that you can overcome. And it's a relief when that happens, when you realize that you have a part to play in this, and God works through us to handle that. I started at first experiencing night terrors, is what I used to call them, and they would just be these. One of them was so strange. I'm not even a big fan of Mark Wahlberg, but it was him attacking me. Like jumped on me and was just and hurting me, and it was horrifying. I couldn't watch anything with him for years. I think I was about 19 when that happened, and I didn't know, but I was this would happen more, to where I would be making noises. The dreams were very lucid. They were very real, very present. A lot of the times I would experience the inability to see and the inability to speak, as if something was like holding my mouth closed, and as if like a.
Cutting you off, the kid in this guy that I used his content basically there. The first episode, there was this recent thing about a 911 call. I'm sure you've heard about it. There was a 911 call, and very tall beings, not in. The police had seen it, and what the kid said was, the minute he locked eyes with the being, it took control of him. Meaning he was kind of like in a alternate state, phased out, so like, that kind of like stuck with me, that these demonic beings do have an ability to kind of take control of your faculties, your cognitive faculties. Like, who knows, you could be having a full-blown alien experience and still be in your bed as well. It could be real. You could literally be being raptured across the wall, or they could be just doing this. There's a mass delusion that it's happening as well. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Sorry for cutting.
The physical thing is real. No, the physical part is real. I too have, and Michael Heiser's gone over this before in regards to sleep paralysis, when it comes to the physical things that are occurring, and the fact of the time frame that they occur. So, so it's a sleep paralysis, so that we don't act out our dreams and like start trying to walk out the window. So those things are real, but I have, and that is all well and true, but that I am just God is my witness. That is nowhere. That does not describe everything else that occurs. I know in our dream state, and our dreams can be very powerful and very, sometimes very wild, and sometimes, very Willy Wonka kind of crazy. And then sometimes they can be almost like an answer to some questions you may have had. But But the fact of what I know now, having researched not just the science portion of it, but what is occurring and what has been both in ancient written down, but also spoken stories of history, that there is something spiritual that also occurs. And the first time I ever, the last time I ever saw the Hat Man was, actually, it was in this apartment. It was about almost a year ago. My youngest was at school. I had finished, whatever around the house, and I was just taking a nap. I just laid on the couch. Everybody takes a nap, right? You don't think to pray to protect your dreams while you're sleeping. You just are tired and you doze off. And I did. And lo and behold, it was happening. And I knew that it was happening. I'd always been a very lucid dreamer. As I'm laying there, I realized, okay, this is happening. And I look over, and I have a sliding glass door right here, over here to my right. And I have a mirror that just, it's a mirror to look at yourself before you walk out the door or put on a coat, whatever. And in my dream, now mind you, my eyes are closed, but I can see everything as if my eyes are open. I just can't move.
Yeah.
And I hear everything, but I can't speak because this is happening again. It's like something's closing my mouth. Immediately I know what I need to do, and that's don't freak out. Pray. Because like my Grammy told me, you can pray anytime, anywhere, and the devil can't touch you. So I'm praying, please, Lord Jesus, be with me, protect me, Lord, right now. I know you're here. And I looked. I couldn't move my head, but I could see through the mirror and see him standing outside the sliding glass door. Okay. He was looking in the mirror to look at me because he couldn't come in and get closer like he used to because I was praying. See, I don't know. It sounds wild, but no, I know it in my heart because the absolute utter fear and terror and just like peel your skin fear, like terrified I would used to be, wasn't happening. And anytime that was happening and I would resist, he would come closer.
Like I've heard this, that if you use the name of Jesus, that a lot of these abduction experiences stop, and it's like, okay, it's just a bunch of Christians trying to say that. But what I did show,
they don't say Buddha, right? They don't say Muhammad.
And they never talk. They always seem to talk about Jesus as saying like Jesus is one of us. Jesus was an alien.
Oh, he's a master magician. He's yeah. Oh yeah.
The
Christ consciousness, all that, yeah.
That is the big one. It is
right.
Always Christ consciousness and stuff like that. But I've heard that yes, indeed, the experiences stop when some people have called out Jesus. Now, one thing that they did not show, if you know which one I'm talking about, this young kid talking about the 911 call. There's police. The footage that are like, no, I believe that there's something because my coworker, the other cop, saw something. This kid shows the raw footage. He shows that you could hear something happening. Now, the one thing that all news stations, because it was plastered everywhere, did not show was the last part when he said that we all went into the house and we started praying. And then he goes, and while we were praying, we heard a scream. Now, not one news station ever showed that. Only this guy's that had the original one. So I was like, oh, very interesting, right?
All the censor that out.
Every single thing except for the last part where you hear this entity screaming, and on top of it saying that we are praying, and it didn't like it.
Is this the one that happened in Las Vegas?
Pretty sure. Yeah. There's a
where they saw they were on the property. They saw them and they're like, they're out there. They're okay. Yeah. I heard about that. That was absolute. It's sad, but are we really shocked that they're going to cut out the prayer part? No, I mean they cut off the football players when they're like, but I give my life to Lord Jesus Christ. Oh darn it, we lost the feed. It's like, okay, well, that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But as far what did it's not a concern, but I just wanted to give some tips as far as her seeing that outside of the sleep.
Yes.
There is, she may have a very active ability to see. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it.
She's done
And there's nothing
without wanting it and stuff like
astral
that.
astral projecting. I
has those
that
gifts that she doesn't want. So I used to always call her a witch, jokingly.
pray. My husband used to do the same thing. Oh, here's my little witch, and I never considered myself one, but now when I look back, I go, oh my gosh, what was I doing? But because the New Age lies to you, they're like, oh, it's no big deal. And now you can't go to things like TikTok without seeing, are you a green witch or are you a kitchen witch? And I'm like, are you guys crazy? Like, do you even realize? And no, not everybody can do stuff, but it's a portal. It's a portal. These are portals also. These are doors. That's what portal is, right? They're gateways into.
That's it.
We're not ready for that, and we're not supposed to be in that because it does nothing but help us perpetuate sin and get further away from God. But having that ability to see that outside, I still have. I used to be called an empath, an energy healer, and I still feel like all the time. I mean, I could sometimes I can't go to the grocery store because I'll just get sick because I can just I can literally feel what everybody's feeling, and it's very, very it's not fun. And now I know that I'm not crazy, and that this has happened to many believers, and that but praying about it has been a big one for me because when I realized that I wanted to give my life over to Christ, I knew that would have to set down these childish things. And I thought, why do I still have this stuff? What's going on? I don't want these. I don't want these anymore. And I prayed about it. And I'm not going to say I don't struggle with continuing to ask questions because that's what God wants us to do.
Yeah.
But it is. I have gotten the feeling from him that it is like amplified discernment, and
sure.
and being able to see and feel what other people can't is means I'm like a sounding alarm, like I have the opportunity to do so.
I had studied for 20 years, like it was like about in my 20s.
Drink some water.
It says like remember freedom and stuff like that. It was like a spiritual experience that I had. I felt like the Holy Spirit woke me up many times, but then I kind of fizzled out. But I was searching, and I'm telling you, like I had thousands of dollars of books on everything and anything. Manly P. Hall, Theosophy, Blavatsky.
Oh yeah.
The Kabbalah.
Oh, you said Blavatsky. Good. That was like I didn't even say anything about Blavatsky.
Yeah, I got
poor woman. Poor woman.
Because I had a choice. I was like, first of all, I said, if I'm taking the Bible serious, I know that I'm going to have the rest of my life and I'll still not even scratch the surface. So I'm not going to be wasting my time in these things. I didn't realize how true they were, even though they weren't the truth. I still hadn't fallen really on all of this Nephilim and Enoch stuff. That I had no idea. So I got rid of all of that. I kind of regret it. I definitely didn't want to give it away as if like, oh, this is poison, but it's good for you if you're not a Christian. So I had to get rid of a lot of this stuff. And my mom, who's a Christian now, same thing. She was into parapsychology, Eastern thought and stuff like that.
I used to go ghost hunting. So I know. Yeah.
She collected it was beautiful stuff from all around the world.
Yeah.
And, like little Buddhist things with a little scripture in there. You twist around the bowl there that makes the humming, like all sorts of great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, at one point, she came to the conclusion that it's like, oh, I have a house of idols. She had to get rid of all that.
Right.
It hurts. It hurts because, it's stuff, you know. But yeah, I had to make a decision. I was like, no, these things are idols and stuff like that. I should have just kept it, because sometimes it's actually, now that I'm seeing so much in the other religions, I kind of want those texts because I could actually use it to point out that, hey, look, this is the narrative from the opposite view, from the bad guy's view, kind of thing. But anyways, I'll just continue. I didn't want to cut you off.
No, for me, that it literally happened in a audible voice in my head. I was sitting on the couch and the Lord said, get rid of this stuff right now. Get it out of here. You need to get it out of here. My youngest is on the spectrum. He's autistic. He's 9. And he was having these. Now, I had stopped doing tarot. Nobody ever paid me for it. I had stopped myself from even making a channel, but I did it for friends. I was very good at it. To a point where, honestly, I feel like my discernment was already God was already going, no, like, I don't want, not this one, devil, like, not this one. You're not going to take her down that road. And so everything kind of kept me from getting as far as I thought I was going to go with it. But I heard, he told me, get it out of here. I got hundreds, thousands of dollars worth of crystals, books, you name it, all of my tarot cards, everything, all of my subsetted books of everything from theosophy to the emerald tablets to anything. I just said, what do I take? Like, what do I get rid of? Just tell me. And I just, everything I got the inclination to get rid of, it's gone. And I literally just bagged it up. I didn't have like a river to go throw it in. I couldn't start a fire. I couldn't start a fire in my apartment. So I did. I got it all bagged up in big black bags, and I put it out. Went to the dumpster and got the hose that's out there and wet it all up and just made a big old blob and bagged it and bagged it and bagged it and threw it in there. And wouldn't you know? How about this? How God works. The garbage man came on the non-garbage man day.
That's weird.
1 hour after I did that. That was the Lord saying, this is, and now I knew you weren't going to go backwards, but it was that thing that you were saying. I should have kept that. I should have kept this.
Maybe
because I know I could, because that pops in my mind now where I'm like, oh, maybe I should have kept this so I could refer back to, and then, but I get this, I literally feel like God's going, no, you didn't need it. You don't need it because you remember, Brianna. I made you smart. I made you smart so that you could remember this stuff. So if you maybe don't know exactly, you know where to look to get exactly what it is, or how to convey the point enough so that the person will know what you're talking about, and where to look themselves. But yes, so it is scary. I'm not at all trying to downplay any of the ability to see these things and feel these things, especially as a mother also. But I tell you, it was affecting my son. Yeah. Those things were affecting my son. They were causing these outbursts that were not him. Yeah. They were not him.
Well,
this
more like there's with autistic children,
he's very, very, very bright. I mean, he can see.
They're very sensitive, right? To even outside like crowds or new. So you can imagine this kind of spiritual vibration in the house. Yeah, for sure.
And when that was gone, not only did that it dissipated and then left, but when this is going to sound, and I know there'll be people like, oh, she's just putting, this, trying to connect it to that, but nothing happens without reason. But
Go ahead. I'm.
But
you can mute yourself for a second, but continue your story.
That's okay. But when that happened, it'll sound. We're not a dirty people, but that doesn't mean apartments don't get bugs. And there was a woman who used to live downstairs, and she was a practicing tarot card user. We never consorted on any of these things together, but she was a self-proclaimed kitchen witch, and I guess did tarot and all of these things. I only found that out later, after, but ready for this. So I had already turned my life around to God. I had already started praying as best without ceasing as I could throughout the day, and making a assured plan in the morning, in the evening, before meals, just outwardly speaking about God, praying with my son, praying with my husband. And that happened where I was told the Lord told me to get rid of those things. I got rid of those things. Things started changing with my son in a positive way. The lady downstairs all of a sudden decides to move. She decides to move. She doesn't say anything. She was typically pretty talkative, but she just up and moves within a week of me doing this. And when she left, all the bugs were gone. And by bugs, I mean cockroaches. Like, they were not infested, but it was very annoying and gross. And I am not the only person to notice this. I remember telling my husband, "Isn't this crazy? Oh my gosh, like,
Yeah.
do you know?" And I kind of was saying, like, I feel this is connected. And he kind of looked at me at first like, "Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, they're still there." And I'm like, "But like, really, honey, like, babe, remember how they used to be? Like, it's gone. She's gone. Brighton's calm. Like, what's going on here? This has to be connected." And now, my mother-in-law's coming, and I told her, and she's like, "That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. There were doors open. There were doors open. You knew, you felt it, and God, but you were open. You had given to, you were listening. All He wants us to do is be patient and be teachable and be present and listen. And He gave us one mouth for a reason. 2 ears, 2 eyes, one mouth. So I'm feeling the motherly things too, because I'm gonna have to go and get my son from the bus. But I'm a talker. I love to talk about God. I love to talk about all of these things. I believe that God has interactions and things happen for a reason. We meet people even like this on the internet. It is hard. There are getting to be more avenues for people to talk about these things. But I think, especially from a Christian view, it's really, we already get like the Bible thumper tag. So immediately we get kind of cut off from certain avenues involving CERN, involving aliens, involving even angels and demons. But there's many of us out here. Like, when you get your live stream, like, there are so many of us out here that are powered by the Lord, who want a further understanding, and if anything, want to talk. We're supposed to fellowship. He wants us to do that. We're supposed to talk about these experiences. Our testimonies are our duty to share with others, because the rippling occurs. It's real. We may be this one little fish in the water, but as soon as we move our fin this way, it ripples that way, and so forth. I almost used the chakra wave thing in there for a second. I had to stop myself. But the energy we put out there, it affects people. And I think, was it Jordan Peterson? Love him too. And he's coming to Christ. I can feel it. He said it about but I feel it's in there. I think he's got to have that moment, but he mentioned about the 1 to 150, where you may be one person, but you interact actually with 150 people, and those people act with 150 people, and so forth and so forth. And so one testimony, it may only change the life of one of those people's a million in that direction. That's one other person. That's one other person that is no longer lost, because they realize they're not alone. And I used to always tell people, or tell myself, I had an internal dialogue that was like, just don't let them see that you're weird. Just don't show the weird, and then it'll be fine. And but now I know that God was like, hey, I love your weird. I made you weird, and that weird is what I want you to let go shine. So I love talking about the Lord. I love talking about all of these things. I was very ashamed of it for a long time, but now I realize that if I hadn't gone through exactly every single thing, including addiction and trauma and abuse of all kinds, I would never be the same person I am today. I would not. And I would not want to go do it all over again. Some parts for sure, but it happened exactly the way it happened so that I could be right here. So literally right here on here talking to you.
Like I stream now. I used to just stream on my YouTube channel. I have like my Twitter gets a few views. Probably with the majority of views, actually, I stream live on my Facebook. And I'm like, oh boy, there must be tons of people that just think this guy is mentally ill. Like, just like talking about like I'm getting comments at the hospital because I don't talk, like openly. Like I go to work to go to work.
Yeah.
I preach in different ways, and I think you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna like be striking out conversations and stuff like that. So I'm sure a lot of them are. I got one like, oh, you're the Jesus guy now. I was like, okay, all right.
Well, hey, we are changed,
hey,
right?
Man, I'm a fool for Christ. I used to, when I first started, I was embarrassed, man. Like it's a progression.
Me too.
Embarrassed to say that I believe.
Oh, and I was ostracized. I was ostracized by some people.
I'm pretty good. Like I just get like mocked and stuff like that in the departments. But I'm like, okay, I'm throwing myself out there because like everyone now on Facebook is seeing this stuff go live. But I'm like, you know what? There's about 80 people that I'm looking are watching. So people are interested. But it's now I'm like, I don't care. I'm not embarrassed.
Yeah,
to say
no.
It's a progress though. No one.
It is, and it's
many people that go from non-Christian to Christian to like, I'm a fool for Christ, and it's like, nah,
right?
It wasn't like that for me.
I know yeah, it was. I mean, my brother just like almost a year ago, he was like, you walk different. Like you walk, he wasn't like, this is a bad thing, and I was like, really? Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I don't know. It's just like, you walk differently now. And I know I'm a lot different, especially my older boys. I have 3 boys. My twins are 22. I don't know if I already said this. And then my youngest is 9. And my older boys see a different mom. They see somebody who is not run on emotions, someone who is not, to quote the old days, but it's very scientific as well, kind of Carl Jungian. I'm not in that toxic feminine. I'm not in that feminine in her masculine, her anima, and I'm not stuck in these falsities, these lost places is really kind of what I look at it now. Yeah. And that's because I filled the God hole, right? Like that's what my grandma always used to say. Everybody has a God hole, and the only thing that fits there is God, and that's it.
I was trying to explain to LA. She's a non-believer, but she has good, she has questions, and she just doesn't. She's like, I just don't understand, like, why you just like believe in this book, and then she's kind of like, well, why? Like, okay, you believe in it, like, why are you still obsessing about, like, go on to the next thing? I tried to explain to her that it's kind of like a body that, she's in her 50s. So I was like, have you been eating and cleaning your body for the last 50 years? And finally said, enough with that, off to something new. It's like, no, I was trying to kind of explain that, but that's perfect. It's the God, and I was trying to tell her,
that's what
why do you have that desire? I'm like, to be honest, like it's not my choice. That desire appeared. Like a lot of times we don't know why desires appear. That's not completely true, but this whole God thing. And I said, I tried to fill with all sorts of things, with recognition, with just some drugs here, some weed here, some alcohol here, maybe maybe this stupid castle game where I'm a king of the castle, like the
Right,
stupidest.
right.
And I was left empty, and that is exactly it. The God hole,
It
only
is.
God fills that, and then we have that. That then the Bible opens up, right? Because it
Yeah.
takes right out of your mouth. It's like it's a peace that surpasses all understanding. My life outwardly has been one crap fest after another ever since becoming Christian, to
Right
be
here.
honest. And within that, I've never been inside so happy. Everything's falling apart. It's like God's ripping me apart
Right?
from everything. All of my life is
I know
falling.
my husband will be like, "What are we gonna do? We have this, and I'm like, "We got this," And it's like, I'm not drunk anymore. Seriously, I was an alcoholic. And it was another generational curse that I've got to break, and I'm very proud of that. And God knew I was going to be strong enough to do it, and I would fall down a lot, but that was so that I could be that. That when that God hole fills up, it means even more, and it stays, and it leaves an imprint, not just on me, but I always imagine like when that happens, and in Christ is when you've accepted Him in your heart and your life as your Savior, that it's like when an atomic bomb hits and you see those imprints on the walls of things, the radiation. It's like our light is more not just bright, but it makes an impact when we go around, and the New Age, it talks about like, oh, the demons are, or their darkness doesn't like your light. Well, guess what? That's actually true. That's actually true. I mean, like with my Shadow Man experience, it was like, I can't get her. Dang it. I can only look at her right here. I can't, I want to make her feel like she can't breathe again. I want to freak her out. I want to whatever. No, it couldn't, because God's light in me could push. It's literally, and it was like when I would have terrible ones. My husband would be woken up to me like, and sometimes I'd sit up just crying, like physically, just all of a sudden cry. Like, I mean, and I would maybe have been crying in a dream, maybe not, but now whenever one of those kind of comes on, he doesn't have that fear anymore, because it's like I'm able to calmly come out. It's more of like a, and I don't have that racing feeling. And I still have really lucid dreams, but they always end up with strange things, like all three of my boys being the same age. And it's just like a fun dream, and we're with my dog that passed away a long time ago because she was my favorite dog. But it's just God saying, like, God giving me these beautiful, happy little things instead of those terrible things. But yeah, I'm glad you like the God hole thing. Both my grandmas are gone, but she would love that you love that. That was one of my favorite things. Well, you gotta fill your God hole, but only God can fit that hole, and it explains the world, right? It explains our self-love and our self this, self that, and our crazy codependent narcissism that's going on in this wild world.
Like I noticed a significant difference, like when I finally came to Christ, but I was probably lukewarm, because it would go in phases of deep study, and then off I went, and then I'd fall into carnality in various ways, and it was like this up and down thing. And it's only been about 8 months that I started doing what I was writing, daily breads. I was like, okay, I'm gonna commit. I'm gonna start doing daily Bible readings and stuff like that. And then I figured, well, maybe I should do it, just read it and do it online, because maybe that God will use that one video for somebody to fall on, and maybe I said something, so that's pretty, and now that I'm much more consistent, now I notice the God hole being filled. But it was
Right.
coming and going. I was doing stuff that I wasn't that I knew I shouldn't be doing, succumbing to temptations. And then after, the devil will whisper in the Christian's ear, like, you're a hypocrite, look at you doing.
Oh yeah. Right. Or even even like, hey, come on, like just a little bit, right? Just
but then he calls
come
you
on, like, or yeah, oh, of course, He's like the abs. I always, you know, a lot of people say like, I always love the concept of him being like the car salesman, you know, and I mean by car salesman, like the lemon seller, like that kind of car salesman. And there was a TV show years ago. It was called Reaper. I was really into the paranormal, and it was about this boy, this young man whose parents really wanted to have a kid, and so they sold their firstborn to the devil. And it was a comedy series, so obviously the devil, but he was like this really like shark skin suit salesman, really great, and he was played by this great actor who could totally play this. And I was like, that's what the devil think, because like he'd be great at manipulation because he could read the room, can read you, and he already knows what you want, and that's what he wants. So it's always a done deal for him. But man, he does not like it when you fill that God hole with God. And if anything, for me, it's like that final, it's not just that breath of sigh of relief. It's like, it is what peace that surpasses understanding is, because the absolute lost fear place that I was, it's so many times in my life, and it sounds cheesy, but when I realized that he was there the whole time, I cannot describe to you what that meant to know that I wasn't alone. And nobody, I used to be, I don't think I'm nowhere near as stubborn as I used to be. I'm still as talkative as I used to be, but to have peace, to not be on a roller coaster all the time inside my body, to not be terrified that people don't love me or like me. And I am so blessed to feel God, to have him there. And he's there for everybody. He's always been there. He's that prodigal father with his arms out. He's been waiting this whole time. And all he wants us to do is hug him back. That's it. Just hug him back. He's right there.
No,
and he can't wait.
It's a free gift. It's like people are, it's like God understands the situation that we're in. He knows that we can't change ourselves. We're like drowning people here, trying to rip ourselves out of the water by our own hair. Especially me without hair, I'm really not going to work with that. And it's like it's a free gift, and yet people will criticize God. It's like, well, here's the solution. It's like we're in the middle of the story still, and people are making basically conclusions before the end of the story. And the story's in the Bible. It says what's gonna happen. I don't know. Like, it's like you said, like when the veil is lifted, the Bible opens up. You see Jesus everywhere in the Old Testament.
Everywhere.
Mythologies, patterns, just everything. Like, and it's overwhelming. It's like, and you're like, how can you not see this? But I know that people don't. There's a barrier.
Yeah, I drove my husband crazy because he didn't like, what was it? Probably about 3.5 years ago. I was like, oh my gosh, do you know that there are aliens? And this is real, and these pilots have these things. And I would show him these videos, and he'd be like, whatever, I don't know, And then, of course, what happens last year, right? We get all this, the government comes forward and they're like, oh, here's what we know. We're not going to tell you, And I was like, wait till you find out that they might be just demons. And he was like, what? And then I showed him Michael Heiser, and, we both still love Joe Rogan, but I was like, hey, guess what? Like, there's other stuff that's not on Joe Rogan. And like he watched Dr. Stephen Curry when he was on there. And that was a really good one. And then recently he's had, oh my gosh, I'm going to brain fart her name right now. But she's a religions scholar. And it's not this last Joe Rogan, but the one before. Diane something. Can't remember her last name. But she's great. And she is like that one step that we could get us in the direction of Joe Rogan seeing like Michael Heiser views, you know, like seeing the kind of concept, that mindset, that unveiled section. But like anything, you know, like it's going to take his experience. Joe's going to have his own personal experience, because the only way we oh yeah. And I mean, and the reach of that would be fascinating. And but even these little moments right here, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna have to go and get my
I'm
son.
gonna have to go too. We're past 3 hours, so
But
that's fine.
I am very, very grateful and honored to talk with all of I can't see how many people are on here or anything, but
13 now.
But I love to talk about this stuff. So if you ever want to talk about stuff, just let me know. And yeah.
No, there'll be definitely more times that you can come on. That's actually, you know, what I'm trying to create is a
Oh, my battery's gonna die.
small community. You know what? I'll kick you out. I'll let you go.
Okay.
I'm cutting off soon.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye. See ya. Well, that was great having Brianna on. So we're already past 3 hours. So I think the majority of what I wanted to show on the video has been shown. You guys, please encourage the guy and go continue the Gospel of the Aliens Part 2. It's going to go talking more about portals and images, even, you know, the womb of the daughters of men being in a way as well a portal. That's how they were able to create the Nephilim. It's an interesting thought that he had about that. And yeah, so I'll let you yourself go see the rest of this video and some of the footage. And we are going to stop it right now. It was a long one, but hopefully it was interesting. Please share and subscribe, guys. And please don't be shy and come on and talk whenever you know, whenever we do these live streams. Not all live streams are going to have people invited on. Sometimes I do want to get through a teaching. The daily breads, usually what I'll do is if I have extra time after my daily bread, I'll say, does anyone want to come on? Like I did the day before yesterday, I believe, and we can have open panels and discussions and stuff like that. Bruce Seasall is in the house. My brother, congratulations, Bruce, for hitting finally 100,000 subs. He has his YouTube trophy, that plaque. Proud of you, Bruce. Sorry, we're about to end, or else I would have let you on as well. So love you guys. Hey, Oliver. Thanks everyone for showing up. We had a really good showing. Bruce just showed up. Go see Bruce Sees All channel. I'm sure that you guys are well aware, because he is, in my opinion, showing a lot of stuff happening in the sky. And he's also showing stuff on the moon. Give me a sec. What up, Bruce? Yeah, 1,000 soon. Yeah. No, it's exploding. Well, as far for me, this is the channel exploding and getting 1,000 subs and stuff. You're getting like 1 sub every 3 days. Yeah. I'm sure you're getting more than that. If you are, it's because you're exploding. It's almost impossible to grow. During the week, listen, you might even be working. Are you busy Wednesday? Wednesday, I'm about to, you know what? I'm about to finish this. I'll call you right away. I have to check my schedule. Okay, love you. Talk soon. Bye. Hey, it's just my brother also calling just to say thank you, say congrats, and yeah, like my little channel's been growing pretty quickly as far as a small channel is. It's like more and more subs, and I used to get like 50 views on my videos and stuff like that. Some of them are hitting 2,000 views, and yeah, that's quite exciting. It means that there's an interest in biblical stuff. People are looking up stuff about prophecy. It means that they're digging into the Bible. So that's, you know, super exciting. So yeah, I'm going to end it here, guys. We could go on and on. We're still have the whole time we've had like 16 up to 22 people watching at one time for my little channel. But let's quit while we're ahead. So love you all, and open up that Bible and come to Christ. And love you, everybody. Bye-bye. See ya.